What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Loving Explaining with Denise Gonzalez. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. As promised, I am back with another one of these episodes in the new YouTube novella. Before we get started with today's episode, I want to give a huge shout out to Don Armando for being the first one in here. I want to say hi to Morena. Hello, corazón, ¿cómo estás? I want to say congratulations to T on, St. Patrick's Day. I hope you're having a blast because it was Friday and it's like a whole weekend now. So enjoy your best life. I want to say hi to Daniel Valencia. Oh, before I start today's show, okay. Big shout out to Mexico for literally ripping us a new bajo in the World Baseball Classic yesterday. They obliterated Puerto Rico's selection and won. So congratulations, Daniel Valencia. I know that you and all Mexicans must be very proud of what you did, because even though, right, we are a great selection and baseball is our sport and whatever, it was an excellent game. I mean, we got to be fair. They won fair and square. We were sleeping in throughout the innings and Mexico came in and swooped us out. Okay, that was insane. I was so pissed, but at the same time, it was an excellent game. Can't complain. Thank you, Mexico, for such a great game. So congrats, Daniel Valencia. Now, I want to wait till like a lot of people, more people start coming in. As people come in, please hit the like button, right? I want to also say hi to Patricia Ingalls. How are you, doll? I hope you're doing fine. I said that T says, I've seen a shooting star on Patrick's night. Oh, that's so cute. Did you wish for something? Don't tell me so it comes true. And he says, I was eating out actually, earthing, feet in the dark. Oh, yeah, I hope you're having a blast, okay? It's a whole weekend. I would be like, if I didn't have a child, of course, I would have been with my husband, all tipsy all weekend, right? I see that Patricia Engel said baseball is the only kind of sport I watch on television. Yeah, definitely. It's I watch a lot of sports, right? Because a lot of I'll send you the link in a second, right? A lot of my friends were boys. I grew up around a lot of cousins that were boys and stuff, and of course, we all watch a lot of baseball. So I grew up around a lot of sports, and then my dad loved combat sports and boxing and stuff like that. Then I got into MMA and stuff. So I grew up around a lot of sports, definitely. So basically, guys, you know that I said that Daniel Valencia says at least national team wins, our state team not that good. Well, I mean, but you know what though, Daniel Valencia, you gotta give it to this Mexican selection, okay? Because defeating Puerto Rico is not a joke. And I'm not saying this because I'm Puerto Rican, but it's like I said about the Dominicans, right? Beating the Dominican Republic was a big celebration for us, and for you guys to beat us at this, the selection was amazing. Hi, Irby. So yeah, basically, back to what I was saying, I'm a very a sportsy type of person, okay? So guys, going back to what's been going on, Radical, I'm gonna send you the link via text, so make sure whenever you're ready, you can come back up. So going into the nitty-gritty of what we wanted to talk about here, right? Let's get serious, people. Today, we're going to talk about, I don't want to make this stream a response to anybody in particular. I want to start by saying that yesterday I came up to a person that I consider my friend and his stream, because in the sake of friendship, of course, because I don't think that YouTube should be the cause of beefing among people that you say you care about. Right, so I came out to the stream to try to clear the air, because I believe even arguments are positive because they clear the air. So, but it headed nowhere. So I ended up stepping down voluntarily, because I'm not gonna say, right, that I was kicked out or disrespected by this person that I consider a friend. I was not. He was very respectful of me being up there. He let me talk, and I decided to step down. Also, MK did the same thing, because there was a lot of individuals up there that were just trying to ride on the stream to just talk crazy to people. And those are people that we decided, we're not going to waste our time having conversations with them. And I want to say that very shortly about what happened yesterday. Look, there's two types of content creators on YouTube, right? There's people that do content just to have conversations about interesting topics and bring intelligent solutions or make hypotheses about things. I like to think that I'm on that group. I believe Radical Latino is also on that group. And there's also the sector of YouTube that's here just for entertainment and to have fun. And shout out to them. I just happen to not fall on that group. I'm not gonna diss that group. They have the right to have fun, because that's what social media is about. To do whatever the heck you want with it. I just wish some of the people that we talk to will know the difference among both people, like who's really trying to have fun and who's really trying to have conversations. And I think that was the biggest problem yesterday. I see that Patricia Ingalls says, my biggest goal is to become a therapist for Black and Hispanic women, plus girls who struggle with drug and alcohol addiction. I love Hispanic people because they helped me out after my father died of cancer. I am so, so, so sorry, Patricia, for your loss. I don't know if you've been following me long enough, but my mom is also fighting that battle right now with colorectal cancer stage 4. So I can only imagine what you must have been through. So kudos to you. Now you have an angel watching over you. So going back to what we were saying, one of the topics that I didn't got to talk about yesterday, because there was a lot of jumping circumstances in, right, was the fact that where does this notion, oh, I see that Rod is here. Hey, Rod.
Yo, what's going on?
What's up?
Yo. I don't have that much time, to be honest with you. I just want to come in and leave and say what I gotta say.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I just saw the message and you did send me the stream. I don't know why I was all over the place.
Yeah, I wanted you to come in just like I did, so we could just have the conversation. To be honest.
Yeah, I was all over, and plus it was really late at night. I saw the time that you sent it to me. I was asleep, yeah. So it is what it is. I just want to say one thing. First of all, this has gone like a little bit too far. It's not that serious anymore. Yeah. I don't think that we should constantly need to talk about the same bullshit all over again. That's one. Two, this is a hypothetical, but I'm gonna ask you and also the chat. What disrespectful video did I ever make about Black folks?
I can't recall.
Exactly.
I've never heard you disrespecting Black folks.
So me asking, are Black women chose last or whatever the case is? That's disrespectful.
No, it's not.
Last time I checked, it's a question, not a statement. I thought my statement on the last stream that I had with you on Tele Talk 2, episode 2, go check it out, guys.
I'll link it in the description below once I'm done with it.
Yeah, thank you. I thought I cleared up the air, but apparently I pissed off more people than I said than anything else. The one thing I am going to address, first of all, I'm not going to address Rakim. He's still my dude. Shout out to him.
Yeah, he's still our friend.
He I don't have no ill will towards him. It's just the only thing I'm going to say is if it doesn't apply, let it fly. When I talk about Tariq Nasheed, when I talk about FBA, This is not you. This is just the goofballs who represent that group. And I've said it plenty of times. Does it represent Black Americans? It
But
represents
can
a
I
group.
interject? Right? Like this is my thing. Like, why is it that we have to explain ourselves when we're talking about Tariq and the Tariq Cleaners, but then when we had Rancho and all this slow tips and Hispano tips sucking Spain's dick by dissing Black people, and we went after them, nobody had an issue with it.
I'm gonna tell you why, and this is exactly Rakim and Kevin C could talk to me about this if they want to. But I believe that Rakim and Kevin C has some internal racism against Latin folks. I'm gonna go out on the limb and say that it is what it is.
I agree to an extent when it comes to Kevin C.
The
I don't think Rakim is that way.
It might not be with Rakim. I don't know, but the fact
I think he's being influenced a little bit by
I don't know why, but the fact is that you cannot hold a double standard one way and then hold a double standard another way. It just doesn't make sense. If I'm wrong, then okay, it is what it is. I'm wrong, It's just my opinion on it. The fact is, again, we don't have to go if we're talking about a certain issue. I've been talked about the history of a certain thing. Yeah. I've been talked about the history of. We don't need to do a history lesson on 101 on what we're talking about. If somebody is that dumb enough to just take our word for face value, that's on them. We already did the work. We already have the archives to show, hey, listen, we don't believe in this type of stuff, and we already did the history breakdown on it.
Yeah. Especially you.
Exactly. It is what it is. It has nothing to do with being misinformed. The thing is, I just ask questions and say, let's talk about it. I could literally do that to any community. It is what it is. Don't like it, you don't have to join. That's all I'm really saying. And the thing is that we have to go up and beyond to do this is because I believe that they see us as others. They don't really see us as family. They see us as others. So that's because the thing is, I haven't seen them say the same exact thing to other Black folks.
But you know
that's the reason why I'm taking it.
Embracing though, like when it comes to like Black male standards, like the standards that we expect from Black men and Black women, haven't you noticed that Black people cannot check Black people because they get criticized? We saw it with Kevin Samuels when he was called gay. Who hurt?
No, we saw it on that stream when it came to MK.
Exactly. They cannot call out themselves. We cannot call them out. White people definitely cannot call them out.
It came out on my stream when Kevin C was calling and Vuvu was calling out MK, 200 Kid, and everybody else. I'm like,
to be on code. I remember.
Hey, yo, you literally just chastised, and I called them out on it. You chastise somebody just to be on code? Come on now. That's extremely hypocritical. And don't say that my community is based on calling people out. If that's the fact, then you shouldn't be getting mad when people are bringing stuff up. And then you go, you got to be on code, brother. Like, come on now. That doesn't make any type of sense. The only thing I'm going to address, and I'm going to address it directly to Kevin C. The only thing I'm going to address, Kevin C, you want to talk to me? We could talk to me offline. It is what it is. The only thing I'm going to address is that statement about the fact that we do this is to make us feel good. That is the most idiotic, low self-esteem statement I've ever heard. The fact that we are doing these streams, we're talking about these topics, is for us to feel good, not for nothing. What are we getting from the Black community that's making me sleep better at night?
I don't know. Exactly. Maybe some hot wings.
That is the most insecure statement I've ever heard. The reason, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense. So my statement It's the Kevin C. Next time, first of all, before you even go to anything like that, next time you gotta check your insecurities
Yeah.
because it's not that serious.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah, it's
Our
not giving. I don't
community,
think he knows that it's
our
giving
community
out the
is
wrong thing.
our
It,
community is not better off. Your community is not better off. I'm not here to say, well, look at their fucked up community and look at look at ours. 18%. I don't do shit like that and I could care less. I really don't. I could care less about all of that other little number stuff. That's other people. The thing is, all I'm doing is having discussions. That's all I'm doing. Having discussions. This is something I found interesting. It is what it is. And now these individuals are just getting pissed off because they're getting offended by it. Again, that's the most insecure statement I've ever heard, especially from a grown man. We're doing this to make ourselves feel, like I said, please point to me at any time that I'm falling asleep all beautiful and comfortable because I said something that my community is better off in. Like, come on now. That makes no that literally makes no type of sense. That literally makes no type of sense, especially coming from somebody that married within our community.
yeah.
You know, oh, she's black. No, she's Latina, bro. She doesn't eat grits. All right, she eats pernil. Come on now.
Yeah, it's like I asked yesterday.
Let's stop the fucking bullshit right now. Because if we really want to keep it 1,000, let's fucking keep it 1,000, bro. There's literally nothing, that black folks have that we're fucking over here like beating ourselves up for, like, oh, God damn it, how come we don't do what the fuck? No, that could be somebody else. That could literally be somebody else. It has nothing to do. That could literally be somebody else. I'm not envious of nobody. The only thing I've ever said that the Latin community lacks and the black community has, and I've said this plenty of times, is the fact that they unite together when it comes to a situation. That's the only thing. That they unite together when it comes to a situation. They do it way faster. They do it way collectively, and they do it militarily. They do it nice, to the point where you don't even have to tell them anything. Social media posts is going all over the place. We don't do that. That's the only thing I've always said. And if you want to take that little clip and say, well, you're envious on that, then okay, so be it. But at the end of the day...
Let me ask you something, Rad. Let me ask you something, right? Because yesterday, like, there's a lot of disingenuous commentary that I feel like Rakim let slide, and he could not grasp, like, himself around what we were trying to tell him, right? I'm going to chalk it up to, like, him saying that he was sleeping, right? But have you ever known me for not calling out, like, the victim mindset of our people?
You always do call it out.
Have I ever shied away?
I'm the one that made the mistake of putting it under the rug.
Yeah, one thing, like, have I ever shied away to call out the Latino crime?
No, you never did.
Like, have I ever said anything about, we should not, lift ourselves up and work hard and, try to make our community and make more money, get more representation, like, because that's one thing I was, like, yesterday trying to make sense of. I'm like, this is who I am all throughout. Like, if in my home I rock with my own people this way, you cannot ask me to give you preferential treatment because that's not who I am. So you're asking me to, like, act out of my character so that you feel better. Does that make sense? Like, it's that kind of like what I said with your platform. Like, I've never known, like, your platform is not like a feel me good platform. It's a platform where you're going to have uncomfortable conversations about topics that will bring black and brown people together.
I talk about both issues, dude. When
Yeah.
I'm talking about this is the thing. It seems like because I'm a Latino and I'm fighting for Black and Brown unity, it seems like I'm not supposed to just talk about only just talk about one dysfunction. No, I'm going to talk about both because not only does both dysfunctions affect both communities, it crosses over. You feel me? So
Hmm.
my thing is, I'm not gonna stay quiet with one thing. I was very vocal about the dysfunction, and I'm still very vocal about our dysfunction in the Latin community.
Yeah.
Now I'm just flipping the mirror back and I'm saying, okay, let's talk about your dysfunction. The only thing I'm doing is talking. I'm not criticizing. I'm not giving stats. I'm not giving numbers. All I'm saying is let's talk about it. Yeah, what you think the solution should be, because I'm not giving solutions whatsoever. I'm just saying let's talk about it. I don't feel, and I said this plenty of times, I don't feel like I'm in the right place to criticize or give solutions to a community when my community is not any better.
Yeah, it's like,
I've always said that. I said that on last stream, and I'm saying it now. I don't know what part of it keeps on going over people's heads. I just said literally, I could talk about anything, but I'm not gonna criticize. That's it, because I don't feel like I'm in a good place to give criticism when fucking El Chapo is cutting people's heads off. You know what I'm saying? So
do you remember when the people that got mad when I was talking about the Mexican cartels and stuff started sending me like threats and telling me like, they wanted to kill me and sexually assault me and stuff? Like, that's because I was talking about Latino crime. But apparently, like, our dear friends forgot that part, or probably they were too sleepy yesterday to like
yeah,
remember that.
I don't know, and I'm not gonna stay here much longer talking about the same mindless
Make your
bullshit.
point. Make your
Yeah,
point.
I'm not gonna stay here talk about the same mindless bullshit for like 4, 5, 7 hours. I'm gonna say what I gotta say. You guys don't understand it. It is what it is. Go back to school so you could get some comprehension skills. All I'm gonna say is, to Rakim, if you feel offended, my fault. Again, I don't know why. Me and you could talk. I got no issue with you. The only thing I had an issue with was with Kevin C's statement, and his statement was completely idiotic. Literally has no point and has no bearing whatsoever. How a black woman chose last on dating apps make me feel better. Literally makes no type of sense. Literally makes no type of sense. So all I'm gonna say is, Kevin C, you better check that little, that little anti-Latino racism. I am calling you out on that. And if you don't think you have it, then I could prove you otherwise. It is what it is. Shout out to you. I'm gonna catch you later. Peace.
Can you guys hear me now? Put a number one if you can hear me now. Put a number one in the chat. Let me see. Okay, I see some ones in the chat. Okay, so basically, thank you, Rad, for putting your point out there. And like I said, I mean, this is getting out of control. Look at K Mac with a number two. This is like one of the most ridiculous things that we have to explain. I'm going to try today, right? Because I don't want to drag this on. I'm going to try today my best to explain through people that don't have my complexion, right? Which is something that I have no control over it. I'm going to, show some people that apparently share the complexion of the people, right? Because the excuse that I get when I point out the same things. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me drink some water. When I point out, right, the issues that we have been putting out there in order for folks to understand that dysfunction should not be celebrated any longer, right? I'll bring you up later, Don Armando. I'm not bringing up people yet, okay? When I put these things out, what I'm putting out basically is the same things that I say about Latin folks. I'm not talking down people. I mean, the people that have been rocking with me since day one know that I spoke harsher to our group, okay? There's 100 videos that prove it. It's not my fault that some folks either have amnesia, selective outrage, or don't research who they're talking to. It's not my job as a content creator to explain you, and that applies to every viewer of me that will ever feel offended by anything I say, right? This is not exclusive to this group that we're having a pickle with, right? If you don't understand what I talk about or what my platform is about, it's not my job to explain what the platform is about. You have been connected with my platform because you want to consume this type of content. And the videos show you what the content is about, right? So it's not my job to have to explain to you who I am. And that's something that this is the only time when I will directly, after this person has openly continued with the disrespect, that I will address Kevin C. Right? I don't owe you, no matter how old you are, an explanation on why I want to talk about Black dysfunction and why I think it needs to end. I don't owe you or any other African American brother and sister an explanation on that for many reasons. First, because the First Amendment grants me the right to speak about whatever I want, right? And any American citizen that has that citizenship already has that granted to them, okay? Remember what we talked about last week, the shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right? So we don't owe you an explanation, especially when what we're doing is just having a conversation. We're not trying. Okay, let's look at this. Is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I'm so glad that this is what we're seeing today. Okay, we are racist. Look, all it took for Radical, MK, and myself to be on the wrong side of this, folks, is talk about the dysfunction of their collective. Now, I'm a racist, Rad is a white supremacist, and MK is just a suburban Black kid. So I'm like, it's so weird, this behavior. And it's so crazy because these are the same people that are calling us tethers, but on other streams, you see them trying to marry into our people. And you can't help but wonder, How is it that you consider people, here we go, that you consider people something other than yourself, but that's the first place you look for a wife? He said that with a whole Latina on his picture. So going back to what I was saying to Mr. Kevin C, I'll give you a few pointers on where to look. I have a video that's called The Depth That Slow Tips Create. Go watch that one. Go watch that one. If you don't want to watch anything else about me, just go watch that one. And you will understand. Okay? Now, I'm going to go deeper into what I want to talk about today. Look at this. My wife is half Mexican and Dominican. Exactly. Your wife is not ADOS. Give me 1 second, guys. So, back to what I was saying. I'm going to play a video, right? Because I think it's time for folks that are from our generation and below to start questioning the intentions of people. Why people do things? Why do we have to gain from this? Exactly, K-Mac. I will continue. I was hesitant if I should continue, but then I said, you know what? I should not stop. I should continue because I want to. Period. That's why. You don't like it? Kick rocks. Go away. I've said it many times. There's 34 million YouTube content creators. Go over there. Hi, sundown. What's up? Yeah, you don't like the content? Kick rocks. But it's time for people to start questioning themselves. What are the intentions behind people's actions? And if you cannot do that and you're past the age of 25, then probably you shouldn't be on YouTube. You shouldn't be having conversations. You should be in therapy. You should be on school trying to study further, because there's nothing else I can tell you. There's nothing else I can tell you. But back to what I was saying, I'm going to play someone that you guys know I admire very much. I learned a lot from this guy. You guys know that I personally even had to call into his show because there was one topic when he mentioned about we needed to let go of certain friendships in order for us to focus on our marriages. And I call in that show, right? Me and MK were having a disagreement watching this live. And I was like, nah, I don't think he's right. And he's like, then call in. And I called in and it was true. So I learned from this guy because we have all been told to a certain degree bad information. And I'm going to cut in here and there with some commentary, but I'm going to let him tell these folks that feel sensitive about what we're saying some harsh truths that you might hear from us and get offended by. Hopefully, you won't get offended by when he says them, or probably you'll find another excuse to feel offended by it. So I'm going to invite the voice of the Godfather, may he rest in power, Mr. Kevin Samuels, a person that I admire very much and that has been gone. And his departure was one of the worst things that could have ever freaking happened for both men and women of my generation and below. But I'm going to let some of his teachings, I'm not going to play the video, of course, because of copyright issues, but I will have the audio so you guys can hear, not from me, but from him, what he thinks about victim mindset, victimhood, and this guy is being grown ass men making excuses, and what he thought about white supremacy and the nonsense.
Yeah, buddy. I like this. Getting ready for tonight's live stream. I've already, oh, by the way, if you're tuning in, and make sure you hit the like button or the dislike button. I don't care which one, just do something when you come in. Tonight's live stream, I'm going to do it about MGTOW and why it is necessary. MGTOW is necessary for a lot of different reasons. What up, Clifton? How are you? There's just a lot of misinformation out there. And I want to clear up several things for guys who are, red pill just used to be called being a man. That's what it really comes down to. MGTOW was a response, as BGS said it best, but it's necessary. What's going on? But I do want to talk about this whole thing about what next. I'm going to tell you right now.
I recently joined forces with the Daily Wire.
So, as you guys are hearing, right, he's going to talk about the same things that we have been talking about. And I want to warn people, like, if you don't want to be held accountable by someone that looks like you, or even someone that doesn't look like you, stream. Go back to the cave.
I don't care what you think. Women, gynocentrism, all these other things, they aren't the enemy. The real problem is whiny crybaby men, simps, white knights, and manginas. Because what it comes right down to is life is a game. And the winners the winners aren't the ones complaining. It's the losers. Yeah, if you're always in somebody's comment section, hating on women with your blank ass avatar. Look, if you don't, I look at a comment, and if I see just an initial and I don't see your picture, I'm going to assume, especially if you're a woman, you're fugly. But if you're a dude and you don't have a picture and you on some irate over the top stuff, I'm just going to assume you're a loser, because losers don't complain. Let me tell you why losers don't complain. Because they just lost the game. They just lost that point. They didn't lose the war.
So before we continue, we're already establishing a difference among losers and winners. That's basically what he's talking about. Okay, so he's going to go a little bit deeper on this, but basically, half of the people that come and rat and me when we say these things fit this category that he just described. Okay, people that don't show their faces, that are just talking crazy in the comment section, on the chat, and whatever. They're already there. But let's continue to hear what he has to say.
See, players straight up win. Players win. I've always been a player. And that don't mean a pimp player. That means I play the game. Look here, black men. We took an L in slavery. We've taken L's with our women. So what?
Once again, he's explaining the same things that we say about all the L's that black men have gotten in this country, but it should not matter when it comes to your results. But let's continue to hear what he has to say.
Read your history. Plenty of other men better than you or me have lost throughout history. Suck that shit up. Have I ever been a pimp? Have I ever been a pimp player? Go check my videos. That's been well documented, of course. But the bottom line is this. Players win. Remember when Buffalo was playing Houston in the 92 AFC Championship? They were down 38-3 at halftime. Well, get the fuck off my channel, punk. Somebody get him out of here.
That was somebody already feeling sensitive about what he had to say. Because, like I stated before, it doesn't matter if it's a black man, a black woman, a Hispanic man, a Hispanic woman, an Asian man, an Asian woman, a white man, a white woman. Nobody can check the bad batch of this group. And the same thing happens with the slow tips. Haven't you guys noticed that they have the same rhetoric? You're anti-black, you're anti-Latino. You hate yourself, you hate yourself. But you do this, but you do that. But your community does this, but this community does that. It's the same arguments, just with different groups of people. You just have to replace that blank space with a different group of people. But let's continue to hear what he has to say. Fair use. Fair use.
Wulong Wong, peace out. In the championship, yeah, adios. Don't come back. This ain't for you. In the championship, Houston was kicking Buffalo's butt. They were waxing them.
What do you want?
Want a job that I don't hate.
Now, he's going to make a comparison about two different teams, right?
The average whiner you see in the comment section, women are the enemy. We can't get ahead because of white supremacy and systematic, institutionalized racism. They would have packed it in and said, you know what? We lose.
Uh-oh. 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 But if I say that, uh-oh. When I've said many times that these people are using this as an excuse, we get slammed, or I would say I get slammed with Hispanic people should not be talking about black issues because you don't understand the path. You don't understand our history. You have not read dissertations about this and blah, blah, blah. Uh-oh, he just said it. But let's continue to hear what he has to say.
No, Buffalo came back out and found a way to win. Players find ways to win. That's the difference between a winner and a loser. A loser loses before the game is even over. A lot of you cats who are upset at women firing off in the comment section, talking crazy, you're a loser.
Uh-oh. 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 And the Godfather strikes again. You are a loser. He said it, not me. But let's continue to hear what he has to say. Fair use, fair use.
You're a loser because the game isn't over. The game is your life. You ain't dead. You can do something. The guys who were, and we're going to talk about this today, the guys who were hardcore MGTOW, I see a lot of them going at pickup artists and dating coaches and all this other kind of stuff in the comment section. But the people who run the channels, let's just be realistic. The people who run the channel whose faces are front and center tend to be the winners, whether they're on MGTOW or whether they're on the player side. And here's the thing. I don't care if you are a hardcore MGTOW. Life is still a game. You need it. You need to get out there and deal with everything else. But how you play the game dictates whether or not you're going to win or lose. A lot of cats today are just running around losing, and you're claiming MGTOW. You're claiming all these different things. You're claiming gynocentrism, white supremacy, all this other kind of stuff to justify or validate why you suck.
Uh-oh. Boom. Oh my God, the Godfather. like I said, I'm not the one saying these things. He is. He is the one saying these things. Okay? The people that are making excuses as to why they cannot get stuff in life is because they know they suck and they don't want to do anything about it. Because even if you suck and you say today, like, I suck, like, I will take it to me, for example. I admit it. I'm fat. I'm overweight. I love sugar. I love cupcakes. Brownies are a food group to me that I love, and I don't want to part ways with it. But then I also know I can die of a heart attack before I'm 40 years old. I can get diabetes soon if I don't change my lifestyle. That's a step further into acknowledging I have a problem. I have a problem. I have a weight problem. But if I fight and say that it's Uncle Sam that's making me pick up the brownies, then I never had to take responsibility for my life and my weight. Does that make sense to people? Put a number 1 if you think that what I'm saying about my weight makes sense. But let's continue to hear what Kevin Samuels has to say.
I'm gonna say that again. If you're holding on to red pill, MGTOW, white supremacy, gynocentrism, all these other buzzwords to justify and validate why you suck. If none of those things existed, you'd find another reason. Kittens are against us. The roaches are rebelling. The fleas are you'd find a reason. Losers have always found losers, quitters, people have always found a way to justify losing.
Exactly my point. You want to justify the reasons why. Like, I've asked, and I'm going to stop here for a minute, right? I'm going to park the whole thing here for a minute. I have asked many questions to these people, this group of trigger individuals, right? Why 7 out of 10 in marrying age modern Black males are unmarried today? And I've said there's a mental issue, not a mental illness. I said a mental issue, which is their mindset is not right, right? And I've been attacked by that. But these guys are hiding behind the concept, which is what Kevin is basically explaining. They're hiding behind the concepts of red pill is the women's problem, is Uncle Sam's problem, and MGTOW. Like, it's a choice for them to be single. Meanwhile, you have all other groups of men marrying at a higher rate. And there's something that the Godfather used to say all the time when he said, the market determines your value. And if no one thinks that you are fit for a husband or fit for marriage, nobody's going to throw themselves at you. No one's going to come your way. So you're using all of these things to mask your lack of social skills, your lack of mental fitness, your lack of even physical fitness in some instances, because you don't want to identify a problem and you don't want to fix it. Yesterday, MK directly asked this dude, because I refuse to refer him as a gentleman any further, right? He asked this dude, what are you doing to fix the problem? Or what is your suggestion, right? It's kind of like when people, I don't know if you guys remember when Taylor Swift gave the state of New York $20,000 from one song that she made for the Department of Education. And people started yelling at her and saying, oh, Taylor Swift, like, you're a millionaire. You should have given more money and whatever. And they started going at her and criticizing her and saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was like, you can talk, but she gave $20K. You might not be a millionaire. You might just have a few thousands of dollars in your bank account, but where's your dollar donation? You get my point? Like, you might not have all the solutions for a group, but at least people like Rod and me are having the conversation. We don't claim to be community fixers. We don't claim to be matchmakers. We don't claim to be community coaches or nothing like that, or politicians. We're having the conversations, suggesting what could possibly be a solution. What are you doing? What are your suggestions? What are your conversations? Where is your platform? Where is your group? Those are questions that when we ask this dude that's old enough to be my father, he just babbled. And the babbling continued to the point that everybody was irritated because he refused to read the room, that we didn't no longer wanted to hear his voice babbling into the abyss. But let's continue to listen to what the Godfather has to say.
Now, I'm going to chime in specifically on black men. Black men got this really bad because we have been history's losers in these states. But guess what? If you overweight, undereducated, don't care about your image or impression, don't care about how you come across, can't talk to anyone, can't communicate, speak like in Ebonics, you loser. What?
Uh-oh. Another bum. Yeah, Morena, I washed my hair and came out after watching the tangling, conditioning, everything. He was still babbling. But did you hear what the Godfather just said? You're already losing by attaching yourself to all this stuff. You're already losing. You're a loser if you're doing all these things, especially speaking the way you speak, carrying. Because I've said this many times. And I think in my community tab, I have a question when I ask, who's responsible for your image? And I had a lot of people even message me crazy, saying that they're not responsible for their image. What we hear from the pro-wax is, oh no, the white man has been trashing our image, whatever. Like there's nothing they can't do. But I'm like, you're out here dressed in Crips and Bloods uniforms, carrying yourself with no regards for your lives. A lot of you guys are not even dressed like that. You're just dressed in graphic tees. I've said this many times. I've had this discussion not only with this group. I've had this discussion with Latino men too and Latino women. Why is it that a grown-ass man still thinks that his outfit should match that of a 4-year-old? If you are over the age of 20, what are you doing with a graphic tee out in public? I will never understand that. Okay? What are you doing with a graphic tee? I start seeing, go the next time, ladies and gentlemen, the next time you go to the store, to Target, right? Or Walmart, if you prefer Walmart, go to the kids section and take a picture. You can send it to me. Send it to me. I swear I will post them all on my community tab and on Instagram. You will find the market for graphic tees, and it tends to be toddlers. And I want to ask this question to the chat. Yeah, Smoothie, I like graphic tees. Don't get me wrong. I love them. But they have a place and a time, and it's not outwear. It is not. I am so sorry. I'm sorry. It's not. It's just not. Put a number 1 in the chat if you think that grown men and toddlers' fashion should be the same. Put a number 2 if you think that toddlers and grown-ass men should not have the same dress code. Put a number 1 if you think that toddlers and grown men should dress the same. And put a number 2 if you think they should not dress the same way. But let's continue to listen to what Kevin has to say. Fair use.
Loser in your eyes. That's the point. It's not a matter of defining a loser in my eyes. How about this? Look at your results.
He said, look at your results. He said, look at your results. He basically said, look at what that brings you. Look at what your behavior brings you. Is it bringing you what you want? Then why you want to keep doing stuff that doesn't serve you? But let's continue to hear him.
And instead of saying, well, what defines a loser in your eyes? Someone who has a scarcity mentality, someone who always believes that the glass is half empty, somebody who comes in here questioning. I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to be rude, but that's not even a question a winner would ask. Straight up. A winner wouldn't ask what defines being a loser. Winners don't concern themselves as losers. That's why they keep winning. All they do is win. The reason you hear me talking about it is because I try to help men who are on the verge being able to go between winning and losing. Most of my clients are winners. I don't have to go talk. I mean, not most, all my clients are winners. I'm not going to lie. I don't have to tell a man, you need to worry about your image, such and so forth, and take advantage of that. Most of my clients have attorneys, they have business coaches, they are achievers. You don't have to tell someone with a winning mindset, your game is weak here. You need to go practice on your free throws. Your game is weak here. You need to go practice on your 40 time. Your game is weak here. You need to go practice on your math. When I was a C student in mathematics, no one had to tell me, guess what, Kevin, if you want to be an engineer, you got to double down and go learn and do what you did. You need to come to school early, stay after school late. My freshman year in college, my background is chemical engineering. My freshman year in college, while everybody else was taking calculus, I had to take college algebra. I spent 35 hours a week studying college algebra, doing the homework assignments, looking at last year's tests, working with tutors, all this stuff out of my own pocket, making $3.35 an hour. I went and got a job at Taco freaking Bell to go pay a tutor. You know why? Because it was my name on the test. It was my life. It was.
Another thing that he just dropped, right? Self accountability. Isn't that what I've been talking about? Self accountability. No one has to come tell me. That's why I laugh, and I'm still puzzled as to. And again, I'm gonna bring it to me, right, so that people don't feel attacked, right? Even though they're still gonna feel attacked, but I'm gonna bring it back to me. No one has to tell me that I'm overweight. I am aware of it. I am 100% aware of it, which is why, yes, I have battled my overweight for years now. I started in 2016 and I have ups and downs. No one had to tell me, hey, Denise, you're too fat. You have to go to the gym. No, one day I said, you know what? I'm out of breath. I'm too fucking fat. And I went over there and started on the treadmill until I felt like I was going to die. That's how you do it. That's literally, nobody has to tell you these things. You should be self-aware. You should yearly or even quarterly search yourself and say, what can I do to make myself stronger in areas that I know I am weak? Nobody should have to tell you these things. If you're waiting for people to tell you these things, it's because you don't want to do anything about it. But let's continue to hear what the Godfather has to say. Fair use.
Was about me. Yeah, if I would have made a C in college algebra, I could have taken the easy path. I failed classes before. I failed calculus. But you know what I did? I didn't blame anybody. I said, dude, your calc game sucks. You don't understand. I didn't go whine and blame my single mother, my absentee father. I didn't blame white people. I didn't blame the women that broke my life. I said, you know what? Dude, you got to get better. If you say you want this, you want to be an engineer, you got to do what it takes. Not question why I got to take calculus to be an engineer. Okay, due respect. Maybe you're new. So here's the thing. When I'm talking about something, if you got a question that's off the topic and you want me to respond to it, gladly hit the super chat button. Put something in that question. $1, $2, $5. If you got a question you want to ask me about a fragrance or something like that, I'm not talking about that. If you want me to get off the topic, do that. That's what super chat's for. So tonight, we're going to talk about winners and losers. Players win. Yeah, players win. They don't always win, but they win enough to call themselves winners. There's something that was said, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, it's how you play the game. True. But it doesn't matter if you win or lose how you play the game. But if you lose long enough, you are a loser. Green Bay Packers have a history of being winners from the 60s on through. Dallas Cowboys, history of being winners. Pittsburgh Steelers have a history of being winners. You have the opposite side of the coin too in the NFL, history of being losers. Why? You got the same talent, same draft picks, same opportunities, but losing is a mentality. Losing is a lifestyle. Losing is a mindset. You can change around and decide you want to win. The first thing you got to stop doing is bitching and complaining about everybody else, arguing about what's the white supremacy, women, such and so forth.
Uh-oh. What did he say, people? Put it in the chat. What did he say people need to stop bitching, he said, and complaining about? White supremacy, women, and so forth on, and so on, and so on. What do we hear constantly from the pro-whites in their mindset? Is the white man, white supremacy, the crack crisis, Jim Crow, slavery, this woman, this 304s, this Pukisha, this, that. I'm going to say something that I've watched very closely, and I love to see it firsthand. One of the things that I absolutely love about my husband, watching him interact with his father, is one of the things that I've picked on is that his father raised MK to blame himself for everything that happens to him, for him, and around him. Everything is his fault. That was the mindset that he was raised on. Everything is his fault. And what happens is that he's making his sons responsible for everything that's in their vicinity. So basically, what that creates is a man that's self-accountable. It's a man that's constantly trying to puzzle himself and ask himself all the time, what can I do better? Where did I fail? How can I approach this situation better? You're constantly taking responsibility for everything around you so that you don't have to think that there's someone crazy doing stuff to you. We don't see this from this pro-whack mindset. What we see is like we're going to point fingers and think about other people. But let's continue listening to what he has to say, because he's going to get to a point that I like. And I'm gonna try to move it a little bit further, right? To see something that he says, right? That I want to, for you guys to hear it. Fair use, fair use. Give me 1 second, guys.
Red pill, always been the same. Players win. Whiners lose. Winners find a way to win. Losers give you reasons why they can't. Point blank, period. Players win. Whiners lose. Winners find a way to win. Losers find a reason why they can't. If you got the balls for this conversation or discussion, call in tonight. If I'm wrong, phone lines will be open. I dare you to call into this show and tell me why you can't win today. That thing you're watching me on, this mobile.
Now, one thing I would say when it comes to The Godfather is that he never lost an argument. Not because he knew better than anyone, not because he knew more, or like he claimed, like some people, right, that they knew almost everything. It's because he always held himself to a standard of reality. Like he recognized his failures, he recognized where he could be better. And once you do that, no one can beat you. When you put out, and I think this is something that I'm going to say, one of the biggest things the biggest lessons of my life, right? When you put and recognize your own weaknesses and put them out there and own them for what they are without making excuses, no one can fucking attack you. No one can attack you because you're the first person that's putting yourself accountable for the shit that you know you don't do. I heard yesterday, I read a comment that was saying that people were body shaming me, and I was like, no, they're not body shaming me because I am fat. And that's not bringing shame. That's just stating a fact, right? So I'm like, people cannot use your weaknesses against you if you own them first. If you own your weaknesses, who can attack you? But let's continue listening to what he has to say.
AKA Q. Y'all need to go subscribe to that brother's channel. He drops jewels. You have so many men giving so much information. But the deal is you got to sit back and do something about it. See, a player is going to say, you know what? Q dropped some knowledge. He don't want to have any more $2.99 conversations, $5 conversations. Thank you, Q. That was one of the best comebacks. So if you decide to make a video and put $2.99 on it or be asked to be a $5 patron, if we are having $5 conversations, man, I couldn't afford $5. I ain't paying that brother $5. If you are fussing about $2.99 or $5, your problems are bigger than that video content. The winners I spoke about earlier, even when they didn't have the means, they had the mentality. You don't have to have the resources of the top 1%, 10%, but you have to have the mentality. That's what has always made a lot of us good, being hustlers. Hustlers, taking a dime and flipping it to 25 cents, taking some Kool-Aid, setting up, making a Kool-Aid stand, going to buy some blow pops at Sam's and flipping them at school to make some more money. Invest, flip it. That's what has made us good because, you know, necessity is the motherhood of invention. We are good at doing a lot with a little. If we can make chitlins taste good, we can become successful. But it's all in we limit ourselves by the way we look at ourselves. See, we're good enough for hood politics, good enough for hood economics, good enough for on this level, but daring to go to this next level, oh, that's going to require getting in there, rolling up your sleeves and competing. Because at this level, we're only competing with each other. At the next levels, we're competing with everybody, and they don't take any prisoners. Neither should we, and we don't have to. Men understand something. When men are the best versions of themselves, the world is a better place. Men in general, Black men in particular, when you step into your own, when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm not where I want to be today, but I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to start drinking more water, stop drinking so much soda or pop. I'm going to start doing some push-ups and sit-ups because I can't afford a gym membership. I'm going to go in there and make sure that I iron all my clothes to make sure they look good when I put them on. I'm going to wear Axe body spray because I can't afford a $400 bottle of Aventus. I'm going to make sure that the lines are tight on my face. If I decide to wear a style like this, I'm going to make sure my beard looks a certain way. I'll make sure my fingernails are clean. I'm going to make sure that my cuticles aren't all up here. I'm going to make sure that my breath smells good. You know what? Not a god doggone thing I said cost.
Now, I'm going to say, why is it that you guys think, and I want people in the chat to answer this for me, right? Why do you think this man that was loved by so many, myself included, admired by so many, myself included, yeah, you can say that I can pretend, well, I'm a big fan and whatever you want to say, right? Why he had to call out the victims in today's society, the Black victims in particular, like he said, not me, those are his words, right? There's victims everywhere, but he's talking particularly about a specific group of victims, which happens to be his collective. Why do you think he has to say this to grown men? Why is it that he had to go out of his way to tell the obvious things? I love Blood Moon's commentary when she said, shaming is the new word for calling out the obvious truth. Yes, that is the new concept. Oh, you're shaming me. You're shaming us. Well, the Godfather is shaming you tonight from heaven. Let's continue to hear what he has to say.
Any money, and I just gave you 2 or 3 style points. Go to those tennis shoes you're wearing, change the laces. Go to those dress shoes that you say don't look any good, go in there and shine them up. Don't have enough money for shoe polish? Spit will do just fine. Don't tell me that you don't have the money. Don't tell me that it costs good. Don't tell me that it costs a lot of money to look good. Don't tell me that something can't be done, because I have given you over 450 videos. 450 videos on this channel I have created. And most of that stuff has been done inside of 15 months. Don't tell me you don't have the information. You don't have the backbone or tenacity. You don't have the fire to get it done. You don't have the will to succeed. That's your problem.
Boom. That's it. He just nailed it. That is the problem. You lack the desire. You lack the fire. You lack the will. I did not say it. He did. But let's continue to hear the Godfather, because he's about to finish this video. Fair use, guys. Fair use.
It's not because you lack information. You lack desire. Because at the end of the day, you don't feel like you're worth something. There is no reason.
Woo! Fire! Fire! Take care, Irby. Yeah. What did I say in previous streams that I got attacked? When I was like, Denise, you're literally saying that the black men don't love themselves and that's why they're killing other black men? Yes, that's what I'm saying. What the Godfather just tell you. That's what the Godfather just said too. You don't love yourself enough to give yourself good things in life, period. That's it. He said it. But let's continue. Fair use, guys.
Reason that a man today should not be able to succeed on his own terms if he values himself. So you can always go into the comment section and look to see who the winners are.
I want you guys to pay attention to what he has to say, because if you look at Radical's comments, I want you guys to go into Radical's comment section after I finish my stream. Go to my comment sections and you identify. If you want to, you can put an L under those commentaries and a W on the winner commentaries. It doesn't matter who they are. We will catch the drift. Just go on there after what we say, because he will tell you exactly how to tell who are winners and who are losers in the comment section. But let's just hear to what he has to say.
And the losers. The losers tend to write paragraphs and they tend to be angry.
It is okay to be so stressed and
the winners tend to co-sign with a message, even a harsh one. Tonight, 9 p.m. Central.
Exactly. And now he's gonna go into more stuff about his stream. So I'm gonna just go back to our conversation. I'm so glad that I brought in the Godfather once again. It's so nice to hear from this man. So much. But guys, the bottom teaching of today, right, is that we have folks today attacking. Thank you, Blood Moon. When she says the winners will never be on YouTube commenting on streams. They are busy being winners outside social media. Exactly. Winners, Don Armando says, winners doesn't make lies about people. Exactly. Winners are not watching what other people are doing. Winners are not complaining. Winners are not bitching about stuff. Never. Never. Winners just find ways to make stuff happen. And you may ask yourself, why is it that we have to hear from this guy these truths, right? And why is this relevant to our topic today? Well, I'm going to tell you why. We know, right, because of the whole conversations about what has transpired in the Black community, we know that Black marriage is in decline. We know that it's in a crisis right now, right? Everybody wants to talk about the crack crisis, but nobody wants to talk about the social skill crisis. Nobody wants to talk about the marriage crisis. Nobody wants to talk about none of these things. It's like we're supposed to ignore it. And I want to say one thing is that if you don't want people to talk about your dysfunction, then just put away the people that are bringing dysfunction. Condemn your criminal class, you know? Send fathers to put their daughters back into lanes. Because that's another thing that I hear a lot. Like when people say, like, oh, like how are we supposed to put this woman back in place? Find a way. You as a man, as a random guy, cannot put a woman in her place, but you can tell her father to do so. You can tell her mother to do so. That's how it's supposed to be. I just don't understand why. It's like a dog chasing its tail, right? But we know for a fact, right? Because people always say, like, oh, you're bringing the stats. You don't know the numbers. You don't know this. You don't know that. We know for a fact that this is what happened to Black families. This is what happened to the Black families all the way from the 1960s all the way to 2010. And it's something that I don't know if you think about it, but it's a shame, right? It is a shame. The blue one, let me see if I can bring the whole, let me remove the banner, even though people know that I'm going to get that copyright strike if you use my content, right? The red represents white children, the blue represents Black children, and the green represents Hispanic children, right? And the chart basically says children living with mother only, and it's represented in percentages, right? So in the 1960s, we didn't have the Hispanic community documented in this. I'm guessing because either we were not counted as anything other than white or Black if you were an Afro-Latino. So you fit in that category, right? We know that the Hispanic term arose in the 1970s with the appeal 94-311. But that's a topic for another show, right? So in 1960s, 6 kids out of every 100 white kids were living only with their mother. Close to 20 Black kids were living only with her mother. So basically what we're saying is, like, in 1960, that would mean at the very end of the silent generation and baby boomer mothers, we're raising 20 out of every 100, we're raising kids alone. Okay? So that's when this shit started. Baby boomer generation. Now in the 1970s, same thing. 7 white kids or 8 white kids were living with their moms only. Close to 30 Black kids were living with moms only. And it got worse in the 1980s. And in the 1990s with the Gen X, it got worse. In the early 2000s, it got worse still with the Gen Xers. And then in the 2010s, when Millennials came in, it started to decline, but still, it's half the community. So I'm like, when I hear these people talk crap about, oh, I don't know, like acting like, I don't know where all these things come out. I don't know where all this problem of the communities came out. Well, it came out from the fact that the structure of a mother and a father are required. Even science tells you that you need a male and a woman to make a child. Therefore, those two are needed to raise that kid. Like, I don't know why is that so hard to understand. Yeah, Blue Moon, that's an old chart because it has to show all the way from 1960. So again, why is it that we want to act like I asked a question yesterday that kind of like skipped people's brain. If we say that there was a crack crisis that affected Black people the most, right? Because we want people to feel sorry for those people, even though they should have known better. Drugs are bad. I don't care if you didn't know that it was extremely addictive. Drugs are bad. There were Black folks that did not touch crack. A lot. So if we say there's a crack crisis, right? And we call it a crisis, who raised the kids? Who raised the children? And what we heard was, well, somebody did. Exactly. Somebody somewhere did. Kids were abandoned. That's what happened. You have in the 1960s, 1980s, and 1990s, half of your kids, a little over half of your kids were raised alone with no fathers. And then you want to ask yourself, why is it that a kid feels the pressure to, a young boy feels the pressure to bring home some money to his mother, and instead of choosing the military, he chooses the streets because there's no doubt there? Why is it that a woman doesn't understand that? I get that, your attachment to a man is through sex. That's human nature. That's woman's nature. I know I feel more connected to my husband through sex. That's how women are. So she's trying to attach to this boy. So the only thing that she knows how to give is sex. She doesn't know anything else. And even though that's the right way to attach to a man or to connect with him, you should not give that away to a 16-year-old kid, because he's not likely going to make you a wife. Right? But where's the father telling the girl that that's the way men are? Where is the father? And we want to act like, oh, like, these women are this enemy and they're doing this and they are doing that, and Pokisha and this and that. And you may ask where all this notion came from. Well, it came from the same people that are telling you to stay mad. And something that I try to talk about that I noticed is that the older we see people, because we like to talk about how all feminists are keeping younger girls single and trying to tell them things that are bad information. Well, the same thing is happening with all guys. And you might ask yourself, why is it that we have older guys making excuses for the crack crisis and the mass incarceration and all this bullshit? What do they have to gain? Well, they have to gain that they don't have to apologize, because look at this other chart. And let me say something before people come at me. These charts, you can find them in blackdemographics.com. It's made by Black people for Black people. So before you come at me with the white man's charts, no, these are Black people making these charts. And it says the war on drugs and its effects on Black marriage in the 1980s and the 90s. And it clearly says that it doesn't matter if the incarceration rate went down, Black men were still not married to Black women in large numbers. Okay, even when incarceration decreased. And like I stated on a stream before, you can see that in 1930s, after the Great Depression, when men over 35 years old suffered the Great Depression with America and didn't have the means to provide for a wife, those men were unmarried. You can see it on the decade between 1930 and 1940s. They were not married. Why? Because they did not have the means to provide for a family. That's the only time you will see that in history. And then you have in the 1950s, right? It declined because financially America became more stable. But then as baby boomers start aging, it went up. Then the second wave of baby boomers came in and it went up again. Then the crack crisis started in the 70s. The baby boomers and a combination of early Gen Xers, it went up. Okay? And it continued to go up no matter how other factors came in. And the question is, how do you bring, because I understand that after mass incarceration and the crack crisis and whatever, because there's nothing we can do with the past. People use crack. People were incarcerated. We cannot change that, okay? It happened. What do you do to solve the problem? What do we do after? That's what I want to focus on, which is why I don't take these excuses of the past. What can happen after? What do we do after all these crises? That's what counts. That's what matters. That's what we should be focused on. Because after all this mess, there has to be a path to bring people back together. The problem that we're finding is that you have a bunch of men and women in the Black community that are yapping at their children and children that they did not have, that they should be mad at each other and pointing out the bad cases. You hear the Black feminists that are older pointing out at every time there is a Pookie or Ray Ray that beats up a girl or stabs a woman or kills his children or does a smash and grab or kills another brother. And they use that as the example of all Black men. When in reality, they know deep down that that's not true. But then you have these older, bitter dudes like Kevin C. telling younger dudes that all the women are prostitutes, that all of them are used up, that all of them have kids, that there's nothing left, and they should just go somewhere else. That there's nothing left, when they know deep down that that's not true. They know deep down that that's not true. So basically what you're doing is that you're scaring young Black males and you're scaring young Black women to go out in the world and be scared of one another. But then you wonder why there's no Black families out there. And you want to ask yourself, why do you think people like Kevin C's generation, which is Gen X and baby boomers, I don't know which one he fits in. It seems to me like he's Gen Xer, right? What do they have to gain? What are their intentions to keep young males and young women separated? We know, right, because we've heard this from men, that older ladies in that community, right, know that their time for mating, it's crunching in. So they're seeing the older guys that they want. They've come to the conclusion, hey, we dropped the ball. We should have prioritized relationships earlier, but we have to compete with younger women. So what they're doing is that they're telling women, postpone it, so that they can have some kind of skin in the game, right? Some dog in the fight. But what about if older dudes are doing the same, right? And they're just telling young males, postpone marriage in order for them to pitch in. I'm going to bring this chart, right? I'm going to try to make this chart as big as possible, but I want all the information in. So if you can zoom your screen, right? We have share of U.S. adults who are single varies by demographic groups, okay? And all of this information is data collected on October 16 to the 28th of 2019, okay? This is only in USA. And I want you guys to focus on men and women, okay? Among the men, which is this one right here, right? 51 out of every 100 boys that are from 18 to 29 years old, 51, that's over half, right? 51 are single. But if you look at the girls, only 32 in that same age bracket are single. And you might say, well, how is it that in the US we have more young males being single than young women when there's more women than men in the world? That makes no sense, right? So let's go to the older bracket. If we go to the older bracket, and not only that, men get more killed than women. So there's no rational explanation for this disaster, right? But as we go over and over, right, and we see Where are all these younger ladies going to? Well, as the ages go down, right? Because also we have the 30 to 49 women is a very, very low number compared to the men. If we go to the men that are 50 to 64 years old that are single, only 27 out of every 100 are single. And if we go to the males that are the women that are 50 to 64, 29 out of 100 are single. So we have more single women as they age than we have single men as they age. And if we go to 65 plus in males, we have 49. That means half of the women that are 65 plus are single, but only 21 older males are single out of every 100. So if you don't have to be too bright to see that, unfortunately, older males and younger women are getting together now more than ever in American history. And before people come at me with the bullshit that they think, that they know, that whatever, blah, 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 blah. If you cannot point in that direction, right, in which, if you cannot point in a direction of a time in America in which younger males were not married to young women, then shut up. I don't have to talk to you, and I won't talk to you, because never in American history has the norm being a male being more than 5 years older than his wife. That has never been American history. Never, ever, ever. That has been American history. Never. I'm gonna make a stream, and I'm gonna try to invite guys that are older to speak on these things, because I found a lot of information about this. This is something that no one's talking about. So basically, we have grandpa out here dirty macking you in a way that they're making it seem like they're helping you, but they're not. Like, for example, well, these women are not worth anything. They're all 304s. They're all used up. They're all this. They're all that. But what they're doing is that they're getting rid of the competition because they cannot compete on youth. Look at what Jose said. My father was born in 29 and my mom was born in 33. That's a 4-year gap. Never in American history. And look at what Don Armando said. My mom was born in 40, my dad in 42. Exactly, 2-year gap. Never in American history have you seen this nonsense of men trying to normalize molestation. Never. Let me see if this is the one. I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna go and explain. Before I get into this, I'm gonna go and explain something. Young guys, I think it's time for you to drop pop from the conversation of marriage and start talking to men your age, and to us, the women your age. Not to me particularly, of course, I'm married, but it's time. I want people to put hashtag cut pop. Cut it off. Cut off pop. Cut him off from the conversation. Pop, if he's not bringing in any tips as to how you can get married, get rid of pop. Pop is too bitter. Okay? If pop is not telling you that the older you get, your chances for finding a good wife decrease, pop does not care. Pop is out of touch, because pop knows that it is true. Okay, it is true. So I'm gonna read certain things. There's a Cambridge study that I found online that was trying to explain how marriage happens, marriage-minded guys happen in today's society, and between what ages a man is more likely to marry depending on certain factors, right? And this is something that Pop is not telling you, but he knows it's true, right? He just wants to have a take at the younger women. Let's just read this, right? So it says, most men who graduate from high school start thinking of marriage as a real possibility when they are 23 or 24. Most men who graduate from college do not start considering marriage as a real possibility until age 26. When men go to graduate school, it takes them longer to get into the working world, and they are not ready to get married until a few years later. So basically, what this study is saying is that from ages 23 to 26, depending on college, a man starts thinking about marriage. And it's almost always directed to his social economics. That's the same thing that men in the 1930s that went through the Great Depression were thinking. So this is not new. That's why men after the Great Depression did not marry at that rate, because they could not provide. And men think about these things. How am I going to pay bills for me, my wife, and my kids? So that's why men are thinking the younger you are, the more desire you have to get married. I remember when my dad told me that his wedding to my mom was at 7 p.m. and at 2 p.m. he was already at church waiting for her. He was very eager to marry, and he married my mom at 21 years old. They were both 21. So the younger you are, the more you desire marriage. Now point me in the direction where Pop, that's angry and full of contempt for women, is telling you that this is the age for you to marry. Because it's more likely for you as a guy to work on your relationship and try to make it work with a woman if you don't have as much emotional scar tissue. The more you desire something, the more you're willing to put in work into it. But let's continue down the chart. I don't know if this is the right order, right? It says 90% of men who have graduated from college are ready for the next step between ages of 26 and 33. This is when they are most likely to consider marriage, but this window of opportunity stays open only for 4 to 5 years, and then the chances a man will marry start to decline. So it's basically saying 9 out of 10 men that have graduated from college. This is not the guys with high school or the ones that have a trade or the ones that went to a vocational school or whatever. We're talking about college educated males. The doctors, the lawyers, the whatever you went to college for, right? The psychologists. These people, these guys are taking about the next step, which is marriage, from 26 to 33. That's the window of opportunity. Only 4 to 5 years. 90% of men that went to college are thinking about that. But Pop is telling you that it's okay to wait till you're 40. But let's continue to read, right? And it says, a majority of college graduates between ages of 28 and 33 are in their high commitment years and likely to propose. That means that if you're trying to get a woman, if you follow Pop's advice, which is wait till you're fully productive at 35 or 42, which is when a man reaches the highest point in production, which is I think 45 to 55 is what they're saying. If you wait till you're 45, you're literally 12 years away from the high commitment years in any man. We're not talking just black. We're talking about any man. From ages 28 to 33. Those are the ages where you're in high commitment years. Those are the ages that is more likely for you to propose to your wife, or what will be your future wife. But if you don't have a relationship before 28 to 33, who you're going to propose to? Who you're going to propose to? But Pop is not talking about that. Now let's continue. It says, this period for well-educated men lasts just a bit over 5 years. And I'm talking about well-educated. That means college-educated guys, which is only 13%, I think, in the Black community, something like that. The chances men will commit are slightly less when they are 31 or 32 than when they were between 28 and 30. Now, we have heard this specific angry, bitter pop on this comment sections talking about 28 to 32 being the age to marry. But he's saying basically that they're slightly less, the chances to commitment when they're 31 or 32. So basically, a man that's college educated has to be in a serious relationship with a woman by the age of 28 to 30. Otherwise, the chances will decrease. And it says, once men reach 33 or 34, the chances they will commit start to diminish, but only slightly. That means, well, you can still have a chance to do that, but you have less desire to do so. The chances that you will get along with someone will start to decrease. And it says, until men reach 37, they remain very good prospects. That means that you still have the chance to make it work. And it says, after age 38, the chances they will ever marry drop dramatically. And you might ask yourself, why? My guess, right? Because I'm not a 38-year-old single dude. My guess is, as people age, and this happens with women too, as we age, we get more set in the way we are. Like, I could not imagine, like, I met my now husband when I was in my early 20s. He was in his early 20s too. I think MK was like 22, something like that. If I would have met MK today, like, I'm 100% sure we wouldn't probably gotten married this fast or gotten together fast, or probably would be living separately even if we were together. Because as you age, you become more particular. The older ladies and the older guys in the chat can let me know, like, do you feel more comfortable now than you did before sharing your living space with someone, or changing or rearranging things about your life as you age? I don't know anyone that feels like excited to rearrange who they are as they age. Now, if we continue, right, this is where things get out of whack for what Pop is telling the youth, that marry from 45 to 55 because that's when you're the most productive and whatever, and women only want money, whatever, right? So it says the chances that a man will marry for the first time diminish even more once he reaches 42 or 43. At this point, many men become confirmed bachelors. Once men reach age 47 to 50 without marrying, the chances they will marry do not disappear, but they diminish almost to none. And I will say, guys, this is what these angry old dudes that keep telling you that women are the problem, that white supremacy did not let them do things, and that you should understand, you should not aim for best. Because this is something that I will point out. Yes, women look at men with resources. Yes, we do. We value men that can get the job done. I don't care if you have to go flip some burgers and get a second job because you can't afford shit. Go ahead and do it. You're not above that. That job's not below you. Okay, just go ahead and get it done. I don't care. Just get it done. I don't care. Women don't care about your excuses. Just get it done. That's it. Women don't want to hear about money problems. We don't want to hear about how you cannot take us out. We don't want to hear excuses, right? Just like you would not want to hear excuses on our end. Like, oh, men don't want to hear about, like, I was young and dumb, or men don't want to hear, like, oh my God, like, I just couldn't work out. I just can't. My feet hurt. I cannot wear heels. I'm not comfortable in a dress. Men don't want to hear that. Women don't want to hear excuses either. You know, and it's time for us to just say it. We don't. Okay, so like when we hear these older dudes telling you that women are only looking at money and that you're not stable and that you should not marry because they're gonna take half and whatever, and they're just gonna get child support of you and blah 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 blah. What they're not thinking about is that they're robbing you of the most beautiful things in life. And I find very fishy that a lot of the guys that have the most to say about how there's not enough girls in cardigans, because I'm not telling you to marry Pokisha. I'm telling you to go for the girl in a cardigan. Right? To make an arrangement. I was listening to Obsidian the other day when he was talking about his relationship with Miss Brown Sugar. They have had a relationship for a long time. And I remember when I was saying on the stream that you might have to negotiate certain things, like being with a woman that's slim, that it's friendly and feminine, but she might have like an attitude problem that can be worked out. If she's willing to do so, that's a trade you can do. Or maybe you have a sweet, beautiful woman that's fat, and you will have to make that trade with her. Well, he was talking about. And I remember when this bitter dude that we're tired of hearing babbling on our streams was saying that I was insane for saying that I shouldn't have said that men have to take overweight or ugly women just to get the results that they want, right? Obsidian was talking about how he made an arrangement with Miss Brown Sugar because Miss Brown Sugar had a weight problem and he had a weight problem. And they made an arrangement, and they made it work. Miss Brown Sugar is a very attractive older woman, and she lost the weight, and she looks bomb. They made it work. They made an arrangement. You might not be where I need you to be, where I want you to be, but I'm not also where I want to be. And I think that's the humility that older people in the Black community in particular are not passing down. They're passing down narcissism. And that's why I named the stream Victimhood, the Excuse of the Old. Because you want to victimize yourself. Like, for example, it's okay to demand 100% from people. You do it with groups that want to become allies with you and friends. And you do it with the women. But then when you are asked to do 100%, so you get 100%, all we get is excuses. And you learn that because older dudes that want to be like you, which is the youth, are telling you that those are justified excuses for the results that they got, when there's no excuse. They should have raised you. They should have taught you things. They should have told you that marriage is the best thing you can always do. No matter what, no matter your circumstances, no matter how broke you are, no matter if you don't have necessarily all figured out, marriage is the best thing you can do. Marriage and a family is the best thing any man can do, any woman can do. I don't care what you think. Marrying and reproducing is the best thing you can do. It makes every sacrifice worth it. And the older you get, the less likely you are to get it. Thank you, Jose. And the problem is that wisdom and age are not the same. And I will say it again, just because you're old, that don't mean you're wise. Just because you're old, that don't mean that you are wise. Okay? Wisdom is acquired and worked on. And it starts by being humble. You cannot acquire something you think you have. So what is it going to be, guys? What is it going to be for older generations to admit that they did something wrong? I don't know. But do you have the time to wait it out? No, we don't. So you have to move the riffraff, which is people that want to victimize themselves, and move towards the light. And before I let people in, I wanted to share something with people, with you guys, about the whole victim mentality stuff, because yesterday I realized that when I was talking to my friend Rakim, right, he did not understand what victim mentality is. And victim mentality is, I'm just gonna go down here, right? When it says, put a number 1 in the chat if you can read what I'm reading, right? It says, what does victim mentality mean? It's not my fault. Someone who acts from a place of victimhood claims things that happen to them are the fault of someone or something other than themselves. It might be the fault of their partner, family, coworker, friend, or quote unquote, the way the world is. They frequently complain about the bad things that happen in their lives. They are reluctant to take personal responsibility, asserting that the circumstances are not in their control. That is basically the definition of what victim mentality is. Everything that happens to you is 100% your responsibility. And with that being said, I'm gonna put the link in the chat, right? Because what if I'm wrong? I've said it many times. What if I'm wrong? What if I don't know what I'm talking about, right? I know I've extended myself talking a lot. I needed to get some things out of the way, right? But guys, if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, if you want to ponder a little bit more about what is being said, just get in, right? You guys know I always do an intermission so I can drink some water and stuff. So I'm going to go for a few minutes and take an intermission, and I will be back. But guys, tap in that link and come up. You want to have the conversation? Come on. You have something to say, you have something. back. Before I bring the people in, you guys know I always do these disclaimers, right? I hope you got your snacks. I hope you guys got everything that you need, but I will say that the views and statements of the guests do not necessarily represent those of the channel and or those of the panel members, as some comments may be offensive to select groups of people. And trust me, on this type of streams, we have to do these disclaimers. And also, I want to say that by calling into the live show, you waive your rights to the use of your image and likeness for the purposes of this show. With that being said, I'm going to bring up the one and only Santa Claus, Jose Negron, and also from the Quisqueya, Don Armando. How are you guys?
We good.
Good. How are you, Jose?
Yes. Good morning.
Saludo, Don Jose.
Okay.
So,
I'm
Jose,
doing well,
what
thank
are
you.
your
I don't
what
know.
are your thoughts, Jose? What are your thoughts, Jose?
Okay. Okay. First of all, as a baby boomer that have to admit and actually ate some humble pie and admit when I was wrong. Okay. The fact of the matter is, unfortunately, many people are growing up with, particularly, unfortunately, some quite a portion of my generation. Okay.
I'll give you some time, Jose, and
Okay.
you come back. You
Okay.
come back. You come back when you're more like available. Let me just move to someone else, okay? Don Armando, what's your take? Because I know you were eager to like say some stuff. What's your take on today's stream?
Well, my take is that people, they need to actually learn how to be more accountable. And that's what I think, which is the problem in this, where it calls victimhood and everything like that.
Mhm.
Because when you have a certain collective of people that don't know how to take accountability for their actions, you will actually get the victim mindset. And they'll be like, oh, this, that, and the third. And you see it play over time and time again, to the point that you have certain organizations that will prey on people with the victimhood. And when they prey on people with the victimhood, the last thing that they'll be doing, they'll be like, okay, we're going to support you in your victimhood, not knowing that other organizations or people will feed off that victimhood just to get financial gain or some clout.
Yeah, it's something that I've noticed, like how a lot of people thought, like for example, what makes you think that if you claim like Black people have been the victims of psyops and stuff, like what makes you think that something that can ultimately decimate the Black community in large numbers, at least the Black productive community, right? Not the criminal sector, not the ones that want to waste their lives away, but the productive part. What makes you think that something that promotes the decimation of Black families is not an up? Like, I don't know how people, and I'm just tapping into conspiracy right now, but like, what makes people think that this is not an up?
All
You
right, so
know?
therefore, this is where I see, and this is from my observation, and this goes towards bitter old men, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these bitter old men, they want to try. They think in their mind that when they trying to tell the younger men, the bad values and everything like that,
Mm-hmm.
what people are not actually seeing is that the older generation, they don't they thinking that they're trying to prevent the younger generation on following their mistakes. What they don't know is that while they're bitter and they're trying to and they're leading the young men wrong, they're not seeing past their bitterness and they haven't learned from their mistakes. So therefore, when they do not take accountability for their mistakes, they're passing the torch to the younger men. You know, all the bad values that they learned from people that did not learn from their mistakes. So therefore, that's why I say that bad mistakes, whether it be a bad father or be the bad OG on your block, when you actually learn from people that did not take accountability for their actions, you'll see the cycle of men leaving their children or vice versa. So you will see that as a continual cycle until people, men and women, take accountability for their actions. Then that's when you see another generation will flourish. But that's my opinion, though.
Yeah, and I agree. And one thing I want to add is like some of these older bitter people, because it's both men and women. I want to make the clarification. I don't think that a lot of them are doing it with malice, which is something that I want to put out there. Some of them are doing it because that's all they know, and they think they're helping you, like Dawn just said. They think they're helping you not commit their mistakes. But I need those older people that are not doing this with malice to just come to the table in good faith. And if you know deep well, like I cannot provide anything other than my own experiences and my own wear and tear to the youth, then probably don't speak up about it and just admit it. Hey, you know what? I wish I could give you advice, but like I'm too jaded for that because I went through like bad experiences. So I really don't know what building a family takes or what you should do. So I will pass on only like bad feelings, So like that's something that I think will make older people look bigger in our eyes than to just act all, almighty and all know-it-alls and all this stuff, like pretending that they know better and they know everything and that we should follow whatever they say and they are right. Now I'm gonna move to I am just Jules. What's
Yeah.
up? How are
Hi,
you?
can you hear me today?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
Hi, Denise. I am very good. Thank you for having me on your panel.
So, what
I just want to say,
is
first of all, you made a compelling argument. You had a lot of great points, and you cordoned off a lot of objections. So I got to give you much props for that.
thank you,
Um,
thank you.
I'll say this. I think largely you do have a compelling argument in that there's a lot of people who are anti-marriage for a number of reasons, and I think a lot of them are internal to themselves. I think that's a problem, and they try to externalize that, both men and women. Um, and I think you're going to continue seeing that as you see our economy is kind of, tanking. It's getting flushed down the toilet, and it's a lot more problematic for people who cannot maintain. And those people are using other reasons to justify why they aren't forming families, why they aren't forming marriages, why they aren't forming generations. You're going to see that in a lot of Black folks, but you're really going to see that in a lot of people who are just not hitting the economic numbers. Can't afford to live where they are, can't afford to maintain a family where they are. Think of all the other things that trickle down from that. But I think one thing I do look at on a regular basis are the American community surveys. If you should actually take a look at those. The 2022 one comes out in September of this year, and I've been doing like longitudinal studies just to kind of see where trends are heading, just based on county level data. And a lot of it is, if you're living in a poor area and you're not doing well, you're going to do terribly. If you're living in a medium income area and you're doing well, you're going to do better than average. If you're living in a high income area and you're not doing well, you're going to do terribly. If you're doing well there, you're going to do well. So you have to kind of look at it as where your county's at, where your zip code's at, where you're working at, what are your skills at. And I think you covered a lot of that earlier.
Yeah.
And I try to avoid it on a racial level because I know that people want to boil it down to that. And you can make a compelling case for that. But if you don't look at what are the other indicators, then you'll get stuck in kind of a title whirlpool of sorts, and you'll just get sucked down into something it's not going to be as productive. But thank you for presenting the argument.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
see the
no,
time
you're
when I
welcome. Yeah, thank you so much for bringing it up. And definitely, I will look at the numbers as they come out, because I think that as millennials, I think people don't understand the millennial, because basically what's happening right now is that we are in like the millennial ranges from like 28 to 41. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not necessarily like the youngest of the youngest. I see that Robert is here. I'm gonna let him in. We're not the youngest of the youngest, but we're still like in that middle age gap. And people are bunching us up with Gen Z and like, oh, like they're just complaining, but they're not seeing the big picture. Like the average millennial lived through so far what's about to be the third economic collapse. We lived to a global pandemic, 20 years of endless wars, the war on drugs, you know, now
Yes.
Possibly
round
World
two.
War, yeah, now possibly like WW3, you know. We lived through, you know, a massive nationwide riots. Like, it's so crazy. And all of it, and not only that, a terrorist attack. Okay,
But
Yes.
all of them.
Denise,
Yeah, go ahead.
let me ask. Approximately how old are you?
I'm 35.
Okay, I'm
All right, I'm
millennial.
40.
Okay, yeah, I remember. I'm a millennial. I remember the TV used to turn off at a certain point. 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. The
Yeah.
TV would just say, "We're done." The jets fly to the heavens. The fireworks go on, and then you just see snowflakes.
Yeah,
That doesn't
me too.
happen
I
anymore.
remember that. I
And
remember
then
the
at the
national
younger age,
anthem.
yeah, and then yes, and at the younger age, the millennials who are 21, they don't remember 9/11. Think
Yeah.
about like that dichotomy between that. Like media used to stop, and now it's never ending
Yeah,
within our generation.
yeah, and now it's like on top of all of that, I love that you brought up that point, because that was the last thing, like the cherry on this cupcake that the millennial generation is going through. We had the inception of social media, so we're the last generation that played outside with things, but at the
Mm.
same time, we're falling ill when it comes to social media, because social media uses us. We don't use social media, which is something that I think Gen Z and generations after us are going to be better at, because they will use social media as opposed to us, because we just got slammed with it. We're like, oh my God, all these nice colors, and I have it all in my phone. Like it's so accessible in the palm of my hand. So when you see all these things, I'm not making excuses for us. What I'm trying to say is that we have to find a way to work with all of the things that have become our norm. For example, the average millennial needs to stop bitching and complaining about economic recessions. We have to then realize this is going to be our lives. And we have to understand that in times of prosperity, since they're short lived, we have to collect as much money as we can, save it, so that when there's the next recession, we can invest. Because our
Right.
economy changed completely from that of our grandparents, and our parents. So this is the way millennials have to live. That's the way. Like, if you want to buy a house, you cannot do it when the economy is booming, as opposed to your father and your grandparents. That's when they could do it, because their economy was completely different. We have to invest in times of recession. That's when you can purchase a home. So like, I think like we have to start to having these conversations, but in order to do that, we have to only talk to older people that are self-accountable for their stuff. Otherwise, we gotta kick grandma and pop out of the conversation. Does that make sense?
I'd say the unproductive people, absolutely. But
Yeah.
two of the things all right, a couple of things I saw from the survey, right? In high impact communities, like think like counties that have a ton of companies, ton of revenue, ton of influence. Like think like in New York, whatever, New York, LA, Miami, Dallas, right? The highest of the higher tier are going to live there. The lowest of the you're going to be pretty spread out, and the people who are doing well are going to do well. But you're going to see there's a split in difference. The lower income, you'll see fewer Asians, whites, and you'll see more blacks, and then slightly fewer Hispanics. So there's a trend in that between the Hispanics and blacks, so that there is going to be a federation in those communities. I don't know how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, no, me
Whether it turns
neither.
out, yeah, whether it turns, I want to see when 2022 comes out, how that looks then, and then how that looks with the inflation and the median incomes and everything like that. But there is going to be some interesting stuff that goes on. I don't know if it's going to get spread up or not, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's something that, I mean, with all the stuff that, you know, as millennials, like we go through, like financially and in social politics still, like we just have to wait and see, because everything is being rearranged, you know. And then we have an influx like never before of people from different sectors in large numbers, to the point that the like the actual American population, which is Black Americans, White Americans, and Native Americans, like it's not even the majority anymore. So it's so crazy.
America until like 1950 was pretty much 90% white, 10% black, and then there was like a much more porous border on the southern border with Mexicans. So the, you know, Texas, Arizona territory, that was like a lot more Hispanic influence. And then, you know, Puerto Rico obviously at a certain point before that. But ever since then, there's a lot more different ethnicities, nationalities who come in and are reconstituting what America actually is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, America, I think America is becoming like a job market, or like I would say like a business marketplace where you can come here and just learn it. Because that's why I say like the Americana is not like your normal culture. Like the American Empire is such a beautiful thing to study if you're into history and social economics, because it's like no other empire before. You know,
it's a
like
big Singapore, but not as but more dominate and not as, you know.
Yeah, because it's tied to a lot of things, and everybody can come and make business. So it's kind of like, I think one place, and I've always repped it, like especially lately, like one place that's turning into the next US, and I think I'm sounding a little geeky, so I'm gonna reel back to what we were talking about. But before I do that, one place I think is replicating the US when it comes to that like marketplace mindset is Dubai. Like right now, Dubai hosts the majority of all the people's money one way or the other. Like every person that's rich or has some kind of influence has some interest invest in Dubai. So I think that's another place very interesting to watch and invest if you want to. But before I continue, I'm gonna move to Robert. Robert, how are you? ¿Cómo estás? We're with you guys fishing. Shout out to the Dominicans. We're both, you know, sitting down. Mexico slap us down in the World Baseball Classic. So what do you think about victimhood and the excuse of the old when it comes to these topics that we've been talking about regarding dysfunction?
It's really interesting. I find that I think something happened between the baby boomers and Gen X. Like, I think the baby boomers gave Gen X such bad advice, such bad wisdom, that it really messed that generation up.
Yeah.
I mean, that generation of Gen X is just so jacked up because
Yeah.
we saw
Yeah.
the most. I mean, that's when we just saw just single motherhood just go through the roof. We saw divorces start going through the roof. We saw like dysfunction go through the roof in Gen X. I'm not saying it didn't exist beforehand, but I think it really came out publicly, you know, during Gen X. And I think then Gen X came to our generation, the millennials, and they just completely screwed us over big time. And you know what I've seen when you're talking about the men, a lot of the men that are like talking about, oh, don't get married, don't do this, don't do that, like that, they're telling you like these fear-based. I notice about a lot of those guys, very immature themselves. Very immature. Like these are guys that are like 40, 50 years old, still dressing like they're 20.
Yeah.
The backwards cap, the Jordans, the baggy pants, still talking like they're 25 years old, but they're like 45, 55 years old.
Yeah,
And these are
I see
guys
a lot of that.
Huh?
I have seen a lot of that
Yeah,
living in New York and Philadelphia also.
I'm seeing a
And
lot of that.
the point is that certain people, they just don't know their age range, or they just don't know how to mature and get out of it, because at the end of the day, if somebody calls me old, I think it's a compliment because at the end of the day, there are certain people that did not that have lived the lifestyle that I lived that they're not here anymore. So
Exactly. And then what did we do to Gen X? They were already kind of jacked up. And what did we do? We gave these mofos social media. And
Yeah. Oh my
now
god.
you've got, like I said, now you've got these dudes, you see the Facebook names. My name is Johnny, Mr. Slam Down, M word, whatever, Johnson. And then now you've got the Gen X women, 40 to 50 years old. They've got social media. So now they're like, well, I still got it. I'm going to compete with all the young millennials and Gen Z. So you got Gen Z women on Facebook, talking about, oh, I can still have a baby at 42, 43. I can still
Yeah.
get it. You've got 45-year-old women that are divorcing so they can date young 27-year-old men, 25-year-old men. So it's like, I think that, and then of course it's all excuses. All well, I saw my mom go through this. Well, and the common story I hear a lot is, well, men all men cheat. Well, did your husband cheat? No. Did your dad cheat? No. Well, how do you know all men cheat? Well, I had a friend of a friend who went through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
all right,
So yeah.
all right, and then on
Cheaters
top of it,
cheat.
and then on top of it to top that off, Robert, is that now you have men and women that have like high expectations, but yet they're not willing to put in the work.
Hey, oh,
For
exactly, exactly.
for example, I'm not gonna go around and say I'm the best money or earner or anything like that. But you'll have some females that they'll be like, okay, you have to have this, that, and the third to go and date me. And I'm not faulting the women for having high expectations. But if a woman wants this, that, and the third from a man, right? But yet
Hmm.
she's not on that same plane, what is her value to a man that actually has all his expectation? For example, he has his own house, he has his own car, he has good credit, he has his own business, right?
Yeah,
But then some of these ladies that they want a man that is supposed to be the top boss and everything, they're not meeting up to the specification. They're not educated. They can't really hold down a conversation without cursing every 5 minutes. And then on top of it, they want this man to go and give them value or to try to raise them up. I mean, the same thing with man. If a woman is top tier and then he gets better just because a top tier woman does not pay attention to him or anything like that, 9 times out of 10, a man or a woman have to do better if they want to be happy in life. And
Yeah,
exactly.
that's it.
and not only that, like I want to ask you guys a question before I let Jose like have his time. Do you guys think or you guys believe that there is like a large group of men and women of our generation and below, right? Do you guys think that in our generation, do you believe there's a large percentage of men and women that are doing what they're supposed to and being 100% the best version of themselves, or you think that's the minority?
I mean, if you actually look at it, I do not know about graphs and charts of people that are doing it,
Mhm.
but most of the people who are living their best lives or what we perceive as living their best life, most of those people do not have social media. They actually make their moves on the low, and they're most likely they have positive people around them. But if you're going to be on social media all day and then you want to try to portray that you're a winner or you're against somebody and you're on social media all day making lies about people, 9 times out of 10, you're not a winner. And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, a person who's actually living their best life is not really going to care about what you're doing. That's it.
Yeah. So
I will.
Robert and I am used. Do you guys think that the majority of people are living to the best ability that they can, like they claim on social media, like they're high value men and high value women? Do you guys think that they're the majority, or you think that not
I
that's not the majority?
I think the vast majority of millennials are being productive now. To what productivity means to you, I think it's gonna be different. I think what I've noticed on social media is people are portraying like these very extravagant lifestyles when really in reality they're living a very much average lifestyle. I think we see a lot of that among millennials, but I think most millennials are doing pretty well. Most of us went to college or started businesses. Millennials, we were the first to, really branch out and go to college at like large numbers or start businesses. So I think most millennials are doing well. Now, Gen Z, god damn.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Gen
They still have time. They still have time.
Gen Z, my God. I mean, these young guys, these young guys, they scared the daylights out of me. I mean, these are the young guys I talk to, at my job, and that's okay. Do you have a license? No. Do you have a car? No. Do you have your own place? No. And it's just like, okay, who do you live with? I live with my mom. I live with my grandma. I live with my aunt. It's like, good God. I mean, and then it's like, then these are the guys, man, I want to get a passport and go to Colombia and Dominican Republic so I can meet a wife. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just insane. It's just I don't know, man. I don't. I'm like, we need to bring back shame. I miss those, because that's how I was raised, right? Like, and I think like if you're Black or Latino and you're like raised old school. I'm sorry, you know that your parents are the biggest bullies in the world. Okay, no bully at school could get you because your parents destroy your morale before you even walked out of the house. And they shame you for stuff you didn't even know you had. So I mean, to a degree it shaped you to have like tougher skin, but it also challenged you to do better. Like I moved, look, I said, you know what, I am ready to have a job. I was already eager for a job at 13. And then I decided to come to the US not knowing anything about American City. I never lived in an American city before. At age 25, I packed up all my stuff and I said, I'm too old to be living with my mom, and I'm uncomfortable. I don't like her rules. I don't like anything. I'd rather just go and live my best life somewhere else and work and be independent and start my life and expand my options in everything. It's socially, romantically, professionally, everything. And I've never looked back. And it's been a whole decade. So I'm like, I don't know why we have people out here making excuses for themselves, saying like, oh, there's an excuse as to why I can't move out, like I can do, and no job was beneath me. I work at a circus, I work at Taco Bell, I did hair for people, I painted people's houses, I did all kinds of jobs. Okay, like all kinds of jobs. Now I'm gonna move to Jose because he's been waiting, and then I am
do you mind
just
if I?
Jules. Yeah, go
Do
ahead.
you mind
I'm
if I?
just Jules, and then I'll
Yeah.
move to Jose after you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't. His voice is much appreciated. I just want to interject real quick. Yeah, America has like a very interesting situation where the media in America is the most powerful engine of disseminating ideas in the world.
Mhm.
And the idea that children have always respected their elders until I want to say like the 1990s, 80s, that era, there was like a Thanos snap where essentially all of that changed and just got where the culture put the people who are allowed to do their own thing in the underworld were allowed to creep up into the over, and the people who were doing the right thing were shunned and pushed down into the underworld. And so doing the right thing is now kind of the shunned thing. I don't know how that's going to switch back or not, but I'll say this: most people are regular people. Most people are, working their job. If you went to college, hopefully you got out of there without too much debt. But I know a lot of people who have it, and most people are not going to be high value men or high value women. They're going to be regular people working 9 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever, or maybe 12 hours a day. But they're going to value what they do value. They're going to be working for that family, fun with their friends, fun with their family, whatever. and they're going to try and make that worthwhile so that the labor they put in turns out something good. If you want to get into that high value life, get that kid ready by age 7, because after that, it becomes a lot harder to get them geared up into that type of lifestyle. I am, I'd say I'm like in the Henry area, where I do very well for myself, but I'm not
Rich.
no. I mean, compared to most Americans, I'm rich. I have $100,000 in my bank account. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But I don't have like $1,000 card payment. I don't have, I'm not like in debt like that crazy like that. And I'll say, like, you got to do the best you can, and marriage is the best way to get out of poverty, because then you get a person that you can work with, problem solve. Because guys think in a very specific way, and women think in a specific way. I mean, you can say generally, but like, we think differently, but we can approach a problem from 2 different angles. You can kind of triangulate and try and solve things in different ways. And if you find the right person you can do that with, I mean, you got a better shot at raising some good kids, having a good life. You'll get fat, and then, hopefully die, hugging each other.
Yeah, and there's another topic that I think we should get into, which is like how easier life gets when you marry. Yeah. Life gets easier, not harder, and I think that's one of the misrepresentations of the red pill content.
To stay married. You have to choose to. It is so easy to say, nah, I'm gonna go out there, but it is difficult to stay. But the people I know who stay, I have several friends who I know who've been married 10, 20, 25 years in my age cohort, and they have done great things. Paid off their mortgages, bought a second home, raised kids, got them up to like almost college. Some are in college, like they are doing great things, but it's not perfect. But they treat each other decently, and they try to figure it out.
Yeah,
like, all right, you're my
that's
person.
all it takes. Yeah, that's all it takes. Like for example, like with me and MK does things on a daily basis that I used to get pissed off about, because everybody's is peculiar about it. Like, for example, I know he gets upset about things that I do. Like, for example, when I cook in the morning his breakfast, and for example, if it's like a weekend, he has to do the dishes after so that I can get a break. He's like, "Why do you put the eggshells in the damn sink, woman?" And I'm like, "Well, that's just the way I am, because at the end, I just clean everything and throw the eggshells back into the trash can." But to me, it's faster to just leave them there. But he hates that, though.
Right, and it's the smallest thing. But you know what? There's
over time, it's irritating.
There's 5 things he doesn't do that you don't like, but you're like, well, whatever. I love him. So
yeah, it's like people don't understand. Like, there's a cumulative anger that if you don't let it out and you compromise with people, like with your partner, like you're not going to necessarily enjoy married life. But that's a topic for like another whole stream that we can make. But yeah, I think people, you'll be surprised how life gets easier when you put effort into your marriage. But that's, like I said, one of the misconceptions about the red pill community is that, like, it's very scary to be married. She's gonna take half. She's gonna do this. He's gonna cheat on you. He's gonna abuse you. Like, these are the misconceptions. But I'm gonna let Jose go, because he's been waiting patiently, and then we can continue with our commentary. So go ahead, Jose.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, thank you for allowing me on your platform. I apologize. It's just that I have to step away because, like I said before, I'm doing overtime. So I'm actually working from midnight to 8 a.m. But getting back to what I was trying to say, unfortunately, when it comes to certain people of my generation, which are baby boomers, and to a certain extent, the Gen X people, we have a problem dealing with accountability, okay? And I have to deal with that, particularly when you have made certain remarks regarding baby boomers, which at first did not sit well at me, okay? It was a bitter pill for me to swallow. However, I have to accept the fact. And looking at your statistical data indicating regarding single mothers. A lot of that happened during the baby boomer years. And I, as a baby boomer, feel embarrassed that there are many of us that did not do a great job, raising our children, trying to give them like a positive role model. So at this point, there's nothing I can do. Okay, all I can do is own up to mistakes I've made as a baby boomer, and just do a better job being the best version of myself, and just let the younger generation know, please do not follow, please do not repeat our mistakes. Okay, we should have done better, but going forward, we will try to do better. And in fact, I'm going to be doing a stream later today regarding where the babies screw it up. So it's going to be an actual frank discussion, and you're inspiring me to do another stream, which I will call the Victimization Olympics. Where we're going to be
Jose,
you're
gonna get chunked.
Okay, but you know what? It's okay, because you know what? I suffer from an incurable disease called I don't care-itis. So, so we're going to be talking about certain people who claim to be the victim. My first target is going to be the baby boomers. And if there's any baby boomers that's actually watching the stream live or on the playback, before you attack me or attack Denise, analyze what's being said. Part of trying to reach a solution is to acknowledge when we have a problem and where we effed up. Okay, and unfortunately, a lot of the older people, we effed up. We can all agree with that, and it took me therapy to get to that conclusion. But I have to admit it. And part of maturity is being humble and admit when you screwed up.
Yeah, I think Jose, that's something that we don't like. I said yesterday on the stream, like and I said it to Kevin C. Just apologize to Rakim's generation, because your generation did not raise them. Your generation did not held accountable men around you that were doing fuckery. Your generation did not pass good information to them, and it's still not passing down good information. Apologize. You cannot change the past. The crack crisis happened. Okay, it's done. Bam, gone. The mass incarceration, bam, gone. We're in 2023. What you can do today is apologize and help these kids find wives and help these women find husbands. That's all you can do. Stop passing down your bitterness and bad information. Tell them they need to dress well, bathe, do the stuff that they're supposed to do, get a freaking job. Yeah, go ahead, Jose.
And if I may continue, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm getting freaking sick and tired of hearing about what happened 400 years ago, 500 years ago, 300 years ago, and you're not coming with a solution, okay? Other than go outside the country and find your spouse, okay? It happened, okay, fine. You cannot control the hand it was dealt with. Okay, that's not the problem. The problem is how you deal with it, how you deal with adversity. Okay, I grew up on public assistance. Okay, I'm not on it now. Okay, first of all, I am a productive member of society. I have a successful career. I bought a home late, but I bought it nevertheless. So I did not accept, my circumstances and blame. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I did not blame others. I took accountability for my action and I did something about it.
Yeah. It's something like to be honest with you, I'm also getting fed up. Like it's something that they're passing down right now that same mindset of excuses to millennials, and we have to reject it, because trust me, if it did not work for Gen Xers to make excuses for their parents and think that things got worse, trust that it's not going to work for us millennials. It's gonna get worse for us. You're gonna be on the streets. Okay, you're gonna be literally on the streets. But I want to move past
Yes.
this to like back to what it is to like what are we gonna do now, as because I have 3 other millennials here, right? What are we going to do? And I'm glad that you're here, Jose, because it's very rare that we see an older person just say, hey, we fucked up, we gotta take care of these kids, we gotta take our L, and just tell them that we fucked up, right? So I'm gonna mute you because I'm getting a little feedback, Jose. Make sure that your YouTube is closed, like your YouTube window. Only leave StreamYard only open. But I wanna move past that, and I wanna say, guys, because I know, Robert, you said that you, after your previous marriage, you're like, I'm so fed up. Like, I don't, all I deal with is trash. I want to hear from you guys dealing with, because I want to do a stream, Robert, when I'm going to bring some of my friends, and I want to bring Jose too. I want to talk about bachelor life. Okay. But I want to touch I think next Saturday I will try to make it happen. But I want people to understand out here that all of this fuckery is coming due to a stream regarding dating. And I want to point out the fact that I want to ask to the 3 young males here, does it get better as you age? Is the bachelor life as glamorous as these older red pill people and MGTOW are making it seem like? Does it get better? Is it worth it? Would you have, in fact, try to make it work earlier, or try to find a solution earlier, or whatever, do something earlier about it? Does it get better?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it depends. It depends. Like, honestly, if you are just like a regular dude making, let's say 45 to 65K, unless you are genetically blessed to be like a handsome dude, no. But if you are handsome, have some money, and have your stuff together, yes. So I mean, it's context.
Okay, so you would say that maybe, like, if you're not gonna do 75K and above,
I'd say
not.
It depends on where you live. All right, so I mean, I
live in LA. 75K here is nothing.
No, yeah.
So
LA, you need 250 to 275 to be like good.
Okay,
but LA is a tier 1 city.
So we know for a fact that majority of our generation it's not gonna reach that, right? Like, we got to be like, to at what point we're gonna be realistic and say, like, yeah, like, there's a reason why those people are called the 10%, right? Which is like the top, like the highly competitive males. So if we put that into context, right? If you're not gonna reach like the 6 figures, let's say, and if you don't have a plan that will nail down, right, that will most likely, very probably nail that 100K lifestyle and above, is it worth it to be a bachelor?
I still say no. I mean, I don't think I'm close to 100K, but I'm not quite there. I mean, my quantity has gone up as I've gotten older. The quantity continues to go up. I mean, can't complain, but the problem is the quality has gone way down. Okay. I mean, yeah, I can meet women, nice body, pretty face, but beyond that, that's where it starts. That's where I say no, because what you start to realize, yeah, exactly. Okay. I think where I start to realize at almost 40, most of the women that are wives, they're wives. They're already off the board. They're well off the chessboard. So the wives are really not available. So now what's left over is basically the women that have been divorced, the women that have never been married, the ones that were baby mothers, so that, I mean, now could I go younger? I probably could go younger. I could, I could date a 22-year-old. I mean, I guess I could, but it's like, for me, I don't think I want to go that young because I don't think that works for me. But I mean, what we have to start telling these younger people is the bachelorhood, there's the myth and there's the reality.
Yeah.
What we see on TV, what we see in the magazines and the movies. Oh, you get this handsome guy. He's got the six pack. He lives in the high rise, drives the Maserati, wears a suit, pools girls every night. But it's like, in reality, that's not. I mean, unless like I think it was Jules. I think that's unless you're living the lifestyle like he's described. I mean, most of us are not going to live that kind of life. So it's not like that at all.
Yeah, like if you're because I want to say this, like I think almost every millennial and senior has read 50 Shades of Grey. Even Christian Grey wanted to get married. Like come on, man. Like what the heck? Like Christian Grey gets married. Okay, he at some point in his still young years, he's fed up with random women. So I'm like, is it really worth it to like come home to a nice condo, and pour yourself a nice, bourbon double and just sit down in your leather sofa and look at the view? Like, is it worth it?
Well, I'm gonna add this. There's a girl I'm talking to. There's a woman I'm talking to right now, and my God, oh my gosh, she's got so many problems. She's got so many issues. I mean, it's so bad. I mean, and I've tried to like back out, and I guess because she sees like, oh, you're the best quality I've met in a long time. She won't let me back out. So like, I'll try to say, hey, well, maybe we should just be friends, okay? And then she'll keep pressing. But it's like, it's like she's 40. All she dates is younger guys, is because she can't because she knows men her age aren't going to put up with it. She's super immature. She keeps telling me, oh, I'm not going to change for nobody. I'm not going to change for anybody. So, well, if you don't want to change, then how do you expect to be married? Because in marriage, we all start to change. I mean, like I was with my wife for a long time. I mean, and even I started picking up habits, just like she picked up habits for me. That's why it's going to be hard for either one of us to date, because we each have each other's habits. She's like, well, I don't do that. You're not going to change me. I'm just like,
what?
So
That's insane.
I mean, it's that, like I said, the quantity is there, but the quality, that's where people miss it. Like, yeah, I could, if we all wanted to, we could just run through Houston if we really wanted to. But the problem is the quality really starts to diminish as you get older, because the quality of people, men and women, not just the women, but the men too, quality is getting married at such a young age. Like when I was in college, by the time I was 25, I had already been to like something like 20 weddings. So the quality people get off the chessboard, and they stay off the chessboard. That's it.
Yeah. I want to ask Jose, because I know he's later in life, and I know Jose is divorced, but Jose is later in life, and I want to know, Jose, like, what are your thoughts, like, on bachelor life? Like, because when you turn the key to your nice apartment, is it worth it to wait and postpone marriage for career development?
Okay, this is, of course, I'm 60, so I'm a couple of years away from retirement. I look at it this way. I would rather take my time to make sure I find someone that's willing to deal with me with all my idiosyncrasies, because I'm going to have to do the same for her. And also at my age, I need to have realistic expectations of what are we looking for as a lifetime companion. At this point, basically, I'm just looking for someone that has half a brain, that's articulate, okay, that's going to be like a helpmate to me, and I'm be a helpmate to her. So I don't know if that answered your question correctly. And as far as the situation, where I'm at, the Wi-Fi situation is worse than my apartment. Okay, and we all know how crappy it can be at times. So, it's just one of those nights where the Wi-Fi acts up. But if I can have a conversation with with the millennials or the Gen Z people, um, you have to know yourself, because there are some people, for whatever reason, are not wired for marriage. No, they cannot, they don't want to deal with it, and that's fine. But you need to be honest with yourself. Then, when for those who want to get married, um, I what they would look for a spouse, and then but there is a reality. Okay, like for example, if I was 30 years younger, or in your case, Denise, I'm like 5,000 years younger than, I would
5,000.
try to seek someone. Well, according to you, I'm almost 1 foot in the grave, but
Oh.
as it may.
So what do you think, like, knowing what you know today, Jose, like about life turns out to be towards retirement, right? Would you have preferred to have like a daughter and a son around my age and a wife around your age, when you come home?
Definitely, because look, I have never been blessed with children, and at this stage, I think realistically, the only option I have is adoption. Realistically, okay, which is why I have adopted certain people as my cyber children.
Yeah.
You, Denise, being my favorite. I'm not gonna, okay. We all know it. So,
I have the bigger room.
And you're the one I let get away with so much crap. No, but seriously, I would have preferred, have children your age and be able to see my grandchildren as they develop. Okay. And speaking about grandchildren, I have to say something. Your son looks like a mini MK.
Oh, I like to think he looks a little bit like me, right? But we'll see. But now that going back to the topic, guys, I want to have this discussion in depth next Saturday. I don't know how to reach you, Jules. Like, if you have an Instagram, shoot me a DM. If not, I'm gonna put my email on the screen. You can shoot me an email. We can set up an hour that's better for you guys, but it's gonna be Saturday for sure. I want to have this discussion. I'm gonna try to bring an extra person, an extra guy that's around the same age as Robert, and I'm guessing Jules, because he's millennial too. And I want you to come too, Jose, because we have to. I think it's time for us to start telling the truth to both men and women. Postponing marriage and children, and it works only for a very select group of people. Right? So, like, when people say these things,
I agree.
Yeah, like when people say these things like, oh, like postpone marriage, and you gotta analyze where they're coming from, but you also have to seek and be able to acknowledge your value in the market. Like Jules said, I love the point that he made when he expressed that you have to make a certain amount of money or have been touched and graced by the gods of beauty in order for you to be able to pull 8, 9s, and 10s still at that age, and in all sense of the word, because we know that Robert can't. I'm pretty sure Robert has no problem, like he expressed, getting women, but it's the quality of those ladies. And that's something that Pop, that's angry, and he's a red pillar, and it's upset out there and has contempt for women, is not telling you. The more you postpone marriage, the more increases your chances of not getting things, because we know that average people are the most common. Average people are the most common. I consider myself average. Like, I have no problem saying that. And I love being average. I love my life. I love my husband. I absolutely adore my son. We have a beautiful life together. We have worked very hard for this life, and we're gonna maybe have a bunch of other kids. But if I wouldn't have wake up like age 26 and said, I need to, as a Latina, that's like a grandma age to start looking for a husband, right? But that was the age when I was like, okay, enough. And I was already friends with MK at that time. We were friends for a few years until we decided, let's just give it a try. But like, not everybody wakes up like that one day and says that. You need Pop and Mama to either give you good advice or step out of the way. But they're not going to do it. So you have to decide today, am I willing to jump out on a limb, or I'm going to let fear dictate what I'm going to do? And I'm going to victimize myself and use the excuses that my elders are giving me. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to start getting final thoughts from every single one of you on today's show. And I hope, like I said, next Saturday, I'm going to have that conversation. Thank you, Don Armando, for the message. Yeah, it was nice to have you on the panel. I want to have that conversation in that, like, next Saturday. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna definitely talk about The Bachelor. Is it worth it? Gather your thoughts, because I'm gonna bring the woman's perspective. You guys are gonna bring the guy's perspective, because that's something I cannot talk about, right? So I'm gonna start with Jose, then I'm gonna go to Jules, and then I'm gonna go to Robert. So Jose, final thoughts on today's stream. Jose, we can't hear you.
Okay, first of all,
I think he muted himself. You muted yourself, Jose. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. First of all, Denise, as always, thank you very much for allowing me on your platform. It's been a long time, and you've truly been missed in these YouTube streets as a voice of reason. And actually, the fact of the matter is this: hopefully, I won't be the only baby boomer that's going to publicly acknowledge when we screw up, brother. But the fact of the matter is, and I said it before, I'm getting freaking sick and tired of hearing people complain about what happened 400 years ago and not do anything to deal with the situation. Because when you complain about the past, it takes away accountability with you, okay? Now, I had to admit when I screwed up, and it was and I had to eat some humble pie, but I did it anyway. If I can do it, the other baby boomers and the older generation, they did not do the job properly in videos, and younger people. I mean, if I can do that, they can do that. And as always, it's a pleasure. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Just let me know when we're gonna do this. Like I said, most likely Saturday I work overtime, so it's like it gets a little bit of a struggle at times. And actually, believe it or not, I was doing an intake because I'm doing the homeless intake, dealing with the refugee seekers over here. So that's why I do overtime, because I got to earn that green money. But anything, all that fun said. Thank you very much.
No problem. I'm gonna put you backstage. Thank you very much, Jose. And yes, I will coordinate for next Saturday. Now I'm gonna move to Jules and then Robert. Jules, final thoughts on today's topic.
Yeah. Thanks for having me up. I appreciate it. I'd say it's a compelling to see that there's family formations that are not happening, that are causing the country to kind of dissolve a lot. There's two books that I would recommend most people to read. One is Death of Black America by Rea, and that talks about basically how Black America's kind of like been dissolving over the past 200 plus years. And you know, it goes into like certain case studies. And then another one that's more in the mainstream is Disintegration, the Splintering of Black America by Eugene Robinson. He's a former Washington Post writer, so he takes a more academic approach to it. And it's very interesting to see how those two kind of say the same thing in different ways. But I'd say for the Latino community, should be aware that there's a lot of things that are being propelled in that community. I think the Latinx thing was the most recent thing I could think of that was trying to disintegrate what, you know, the language actually means, because language does mean something. It's how you conceive of the world through how you speak. So I'd say, see what the country does and see what it's going to do.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that I've heard before, like of collapsing empires, on how they start focusing towards collapse. They start focusing on gender and race a lot.
Yeah,
and people start stuff just trying. Yeah, definitely. So that's something like that should be signaling to people that we are towards the end of a big era, you know. And I think a lot of people are not catching it. And I'm like, people need to be more aware. Especially, and I'm a little low-key disappointed on the Black Americans that fight these notions, because out of every group, I think they have always been like the most awake. Hence why they created the woke phrase, right? They should be like more aware that this it's signaling the end of the empire. Because do you really think that the Germans saw like the Nazi? The Nazis forming, they did not saw it coming. It was
they did. Yes, they did.
I don't think do you think they saw coming like Hitler and doing all this atrocity? I don't think they saw it coming.
They saw it, and at some point they wanted it, because Germany post World War I was a train wreck. Like their inflation,
they got blamed for it.
Their currency was inflating. They had to pay back a bunch. Like they got screwed royally. And the reason why Adolf was put on Times Man of the Year was because he turned that economy around by focusing on the war economy, something that America did. But Germany is not able to make a pan-Europa like they wanted to do, just because they don't have the land access. Germany is not structured the way that America is, like as a geographical entity. Like America is a very special landmass. You know, you think about it, it's two huge oceans that protect you. There's lots of rivers in the center of it that take resources out of it. There's sea islands on the East Coast that protect
the tropics of the South.
A lot of arable land that's in the subtropics as well. And then a lot of people don't live in the areas where we have a lot of our natural resources. So you get the coal, the uranium, the oil. Those are not where people live for the most part. Those are all in different areas. Like it's a very special landmass, whereas Germany is the size of Texas, maybe. And they tried to take over the world, and it was bound to fail.
But do you think that the people, I'm not saying like, you know, military or people that were connected to government anyway, I'm just saying like regular folks, do you think they saw Nazi Germany like being born to what it was in reality? Or you think that at first like they were like, oh, you know, this is just something trying to make justice for us and whatever? Do you think they saw coming the empire that was trying to be formed?
If you're starving, you'll believe anything. And he promised a lot, and he delivered on a good amount of it.
Of course. I guess what I'm trying to say is like they saw coming the monster. I don't know if you catch what I'm saying. Like I think what they believed was, this is our Moses, you know? Like Adolf is Moses, and he's gonna free the people, and he's gonna give us everything that we need, because they were full of resent. They did not saw. I don't think they saw coming the atrocities.
I mean, they did, because it happened would say
So you think that the
50
regular?
years.
Do you think the regular Germans were like, yeah, like we're gonna put these people in concentration camps and torture Jews and stuff?
Yeah,
Like,
well, because like before they did that in Germany, 20 years before they did that in Namibia with the people who were there, and then 50 years before they had the integration or the final immigration push in North America, and that kind of cemented America as being an expansion of European, people,
mhm.
and that's what kind of started the Americans in the downhill slope as far as their population and their ability to like maintain cohesive tribes. Like at that post Civil War era, the country America determined what it was going to be. And then 1880, they started importing a ton of Europeans. And you can see there's a ton of places that are named after places in Europe, in the Midwest and the Arizona, like that kind of Sun Belt region, named after places over there. Right. And they started importing tons and tons and tons of like Germans and Austrians and Swedish people and like I grew up in a town that was full of Norwegian immigrants from like the 1880s. You know what I mean? Like they started filling that in, and then the natives got pushed further and further west. And these were people that previously occupied New York and West Virginia and stuff like that. And that was like that big push. And then they had that land expansion and the Oklahoma land rush. Like, yeah, America did a lot of stuff and learned from the British, and the Germans learned from the Americans. And it's a tale as old as time, but they've been telling each other the same story for the past several hundred years.
Yeah, I think, well, now when you put it like that, you might be right. They probably did saw it coming.
If it's going to be you or me, it's going to be me.
Yeah.
Sure. That was the thought.
Yeah, that's human nature. You want to survive. You got a point. You got a valid point. So basically, like I said, next Saturday, I'm going to have this conversation. I usually go live around 8 p.m. PDT. If you cannot make it at that time, let me know. Like I said, my email it's on the screen. You can email me, or if you want to DM me on my Instagram, I posted my Instagram when we were in Intermission and stuff. So either way, shoot me an email or a message. I will try to accommodate everyone's schedule so we can have the conversation, okay? And I'll let people know. I will nail down, like, do it before Tuesday so I can start, like, putting everything together, because I usually put things together on Tuesday, Wednesday for Saturday. So let me know what's the best time for you, like, maybe from 6 to 9 p.m. PDT, okay? So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm glad that you catch me live. And thank you for your input. It's very interesting to hear from different people with different opinions that are bringing arguments to the table, right? So thank you very much, Jules. I'm gonna put you backstage now. Robert, the man of the hour, what are your final thoughts on today's topic?
So, two things. Number one, as I guess part of the point of last stream and this stream, we've got to stop blaming slavery and white supremacy for everything. Slavery and white supremacy is not the reason why 70% of Black men between birth and 44 years old are dying of homicide. Yeah. Slavery and white supremacy isn't the reason why 80% of the children from the Black community are born from single mothers. White supremacy and slavery is not the reason why, cocaine was brought into your neighborhood, but you didn't have to take it.
Yeah.
At some point, life comes down to choices. And, you have the power to say no. You have the power to go to school. You have the power to start a business. I mean, you live in America. Yes. I mean, are the laws biased at times? Yes. But at the end of the day, we have the greatest system in the world. So, I mean, Brittany Griner can attest to that. You went to Russia and there was no due process.
Yeah.
So you
there
have
was
the
no
power to say
habeas
no.
corpus. There was none of that. Yeah.
None of that. I mean, all that BLM and hate America, and it did you no good, because at the end of the day, they don't see that you're Black. They see that you're American, and they will jam you up the first chance they get. And the second thing, to talk about marriage. Marriage in the beginning, it starts off, love, the butterflies, the Disney fantasy, and that's great. And marriage, you do need that. But also too, marriage is there's so many benefits to marriage, and I mean, unfortunately, we're at the end, so I can't really get into all the benefits. But one of the things is, man, it becomes about growing old together. It becomes about, who's gonna be there for you, when you're sick, when you're gray, when you don't look as good, when you both become fat. It's about being there. If I lose a leg, is my wife gonna be there for me?
Yeah.
If I get burnt up and I look just hideous, is she gonna still be there? I mean, that's what marriage is about. Just growing old together, being together, watching your kids grow up, watching your grandkids come of age. I mean, and that's the most beautiful thing. And I feel like we've taken that away from the younger generation. Gen Z started this, telling us,
Gen
oh,
X, Gen X.
postpone, wait,
Gen X.
wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait, wait. Or Gen X, I'm sorry, yeah, Gen X, they wait, wait, wait. And it's like, because they're telling us to wait, some of us waited. And now you have people that are out here in their 30s and 40s with no kids, no wife, no husband. I mean, you went through a whole pandemic together. I mean, we went through a pandemic,
Oh,
and there were
yes.
people 3 months, 6 months, wherever, depending on your state, you were just locked in a house or an apartment by yourself.
Yes. It
That is
was
the
brutal in
saddest thing in the
LA.
world.
It was
Yeah.
brutal in LA. I had the best time with MK.
Oh yeah. I was still with my wife at that time, and I mean, well, we got so close. We bonded. I mean, we took that time and we got so close as a couple. And it's like that's the thing. The rest of y'all were just out. I mean, you couldn't go to bars, so you couldn't go get ran through or do whatever. You had to just stay at home. Maybe you got to go out
Yeah.
to go grocery shopping. That was it. So it was
Look,
like
now that
all.
you say that, it's a funny story, right? MK and
Hmm.
me, like our last date was that Valentine's Day before
Oh
LA
wow.
closed down. Yeah, we were stressed out. We went out. MK was working, I think, close to like 6, almost 7 days a week. So we went out. He was exhausted. But we tried to have a good time, right? That was the last date we had. Into the pandemic, our Valentine's Day was here. I told him, don't worry about nothing. Just bring the wine. I will cook, right? Because that was it. We're like, we cannot go anywhere. We drank so much wine that day together. We got so drunk, Robert. I don't think we've ever been drunk together because we don't drink till we're drunk, right?
Hmm.
We sat down and we realized still this day that was the best date we've ever had, and it was right here on
Exactly.
our dining table during the pandemic. That was the best date ever. I had the best
Exactly.
time. I swear, we had the best time during the pandemic.
Exactly. And that's what it's about. I mean, all this being alone, all this, women this, men that, all it's doing is causing division. And then it's causing people to be lonely. We're human beings. We weren't meant to be lonely. We weren't meant to be solitary creatures. The last thing I'll say is there was a single mother that I knew, and she was telling me how she was telling her daughter to wait, wait, wait. Get your, go to college, get your education, get your job. And I said, why are you telling your daughter to wait? She's like, because I said, okay, you're telling your daughter to wait, right? And she's like, yeah. But why are you telling her because that's for her best interest or because of what happened to you? And then she paused and I said, and think about it. How is waiting serving you right now? You and your husband are divorced, and now look what you got going on. Is it
Yeah.
really working for you? And she paused and I said, so now look what you're doing to your daughter. Because of what happened to you, you're sabotaging this little girl before she even gets out the gate. That's what we got going on out here.
Yeah, yeah. It's sad. It's cringeworthy. But I'll thank you, Robert. Like I said, next Saturday I need you to be right here on this platform.
I'll
We're
be here.
gonna talk. We're gonna talk about this stuff. We need to keep breaking down this nonsense till we get it right. Right? Like we're gonna fix what our parents and grandparents couldn't. That should
Yeah,
be that
definitely. Let's
should
do
be
it.
our goal. No excuses. No whining. Right? We gotta just find solutions, brainstorm it, and make it work somehow. But I thank you,
Let's
Robert.
do it.
I'm gonna put you backstage. I thank you very much
Alrighty.
for being here and sharing your thoughts. People, thank you for rocking with me. I know, oh, thank you, K Mac. I was gonna go right there. I was gonna go right there. Uh, one of the things that I've heard from certain intelligence agency that I'm not going to mention on my platform is basically to destroy a family. Because if people think this is not true, if America is Rome, right? America is the Roman Empire, and it's one of the biggest powers in the world. You have a lot of enemies, and because America has managed to stay on top for so long, right, with the support of NATO and other institutions that we're not going to get into right now, right, it has created so many enemies. And also because it has opened the doors for so many people to come in here, pass off as Americans, and the path to citizenship here is out of whack. It's not like on other places. It's easier to become an American citizen than it is in other countries that are first world countries and stuff. It's easier to influence the population. It's easier to put in the minds of people certain things. So you got to understand, it's not that complicated to understand that being alone, when you're alone, you're most likely to be influenced by external things, and you're more likely, more susceptible to being sad, to offing yourself, to propaganda, to depression, to anxiety, to eating disorders, and many other things. So how do you destroy America? One of the things that I will argue, or anyone that can put two and two together can argue, is destroying the concept of family. Because you have a lot of loners in America. You destroy the economy because people cannot survive. People have to pay higher prices for everything. You destroy values, which people are going to start offing each other, except select groups of people. And we know who those are, right? Because we can see that the homicide charts. It's not Black and Latino people. We know that for sure. And definitely not white people. Is right behind it because they're killing each other too. So we got to start moving with intention. We got to start exercising discernment. I believe that our generation might not be the one that gets it all together, but I think we are the pioneers in fixing this mess. We are the generation. I will end it with this. I believe millennials are the generation that will either completely sink America or will save America. It's up to every single one of us. So with that being said, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I've been here for 3 hours and 17 minutes. Thank you so much for listening to my rant and listening to my take. I hope people have enjoyed it. I will be here next Saturday. We're going to talk about bachelor life and sassy life and city girl life and all that stuff. So if you want to hear about it, you want to hear reality, not makeup, made up stuff and Looney Tunes and 50 Shades of Grey nonsense, tune in. We're going to talk it out. If you want to hear about it, we're going to talk it out with real people on the ground that are living this life. Thank you very much, guys. It was nice to be here. Peace out.